Oh dear. Oh well, we'll start the show with a little ball routine. First of all, we have a juggler's cascade. Going on to... We have a small hiccup. Right, we will start again. Right, I will move forward. I will start with a ball routine. Here we have a juggler's cascade.
No, you just said it's my spot.
What? I said that's my spot. I can juggle better than you.
No, you can't juggle better than me, can you? No!
Oh dear, can I juggle better than her?
No!
All right, I'll prove it. See this, juggler's cascade going into juggler's reverse cascade.
No problem. Juggler's cascade. And a high throw.
Oh dear. Oh well, how about this one then? Juggler's cascade going into juggler's tennis. 15 love, 30 love, 40 love. See that one?
No problem. Juggler's cascade, juggler's tennis, 15 love, 30 love, 40 love, game, set. And 2 juggler's drops.
Yay! All right.
Nobody noticed.
This one will get her. Juggler's cascade going into a... Can't hit a man with contact lenses.
Contact lenses? This is a duel. What we'll do, we'll stand back to back. Back to back. We'll take 3 paces. We'll turn around and we'll fire the balls at each other.
Let me get out the bloody way. Anybody out there with a cigarette? No?
Yes?
You got a cigarette?
Yes?
Can we have your cigarette? Is it lit? Yes! Come over here then, please. Oh, Bob. Thank you. Oh, right. What we'll actually do here is make this cigarette disappear before your very eyes. So, there we go. Woo! Oh. Is it still there? Some say it is. Thank you.
A free choice of the cards from the pack. Pick the easy one, please. Just one. Right, you happy, mate? Hold it up front and use the right side of the because the people behind you can see it, right? See, nice and hard so you can see it. Right, we're going to start with Nick, okay? You've got to hold it high in front so you look at it and concentrate on it. So I'm going to try and read your mind, alright? So you think of the card, nothing else. Okay. This involves a lot of concentration. I need total silence here. I think your card could be a 5. Yes? A red one, a diamond. Wow, thank you. Now, see your card and concentrate on it. Please. You see, see the back of the card. Pick the card, I think, a jack. Jack, or... There's a thing on the back. Yours is a diamond as well.
I know.
Tracy looks like the tricky one. You concentrate really really hard, okay?
Look at him.
I don't think she's thinking about a card at all. She's thinking about the chocolate cake over there. It's your card.
Put your hand on the back of the card. This is like cheating, dude. Put it on your card. Put your hand on the card.
Club.
This is all on the back of the card.
Anybody think she was cheating?
Yeah!
Do you like things down my card?
No. Look at the back of them.
Real?
Right, we don't need a volunteer. Who's the jacket fit?
You see that? Someone wants to go missing.
How about Eunice?
This is slightly too great. Come on. Because it's free. Sonic's going to be in West. And then
What we're going to actually do here with this rope, we're going to pass this rope through Eunice's body. No, we won't do the one round the rope, but the one round the neck usually goes wrong, as it did last year. So what we're going to do is pass this rope through Eunice's body. If she'd like to just hold the end of the rope, hold the other end of the rope, just keep the jacket on. Open the sleeves.
Do we still have the ropes here? Are they the real ropes? Are they the genuine ropes that she had hold on in the first place?
Of course they're not.
Are they behind your back?
Can you feel them?
Can you feel them? Yes, right. What we now need, let's say, all we need now is 2 more people. Who would like to... Someone... How about her husband? Would he like to come in? We need another person. What we now need...
Oh, that's good, isn't it? Be a little girl. What she's do a good yeah, but so
If the trick goes wrong, this might hurt. In fact, I think this trick could even be more dangerous than the one that Mr. Solly might tackle later. So, on the count of 3, all we need you to do is pull the ropes very hard and it will penetrate straight through Eunice's body. On the count of 3, don't let go of the rope, just pull them. 1, 2, 3, go! Don't practice this trick. She's probably coming half of it. See it? There's something drastically wrong here.
We're meant to try this one again. You're actually not doing it properly, you.
Start again, shall we? Would you like to do this trick again?
No.
Try this again. As you can see, this is a totally live show, and things do go wrong. Would you like to come and attempt to catch your wife off again? Right.
Completely unmutable, Tim. We're going to have no confidence at all.
You sure? You sure you want to try it?
Let's throw it, just kiss it. I thought they were going to get
As I said, at the count of 3, Eunice will probably be cut in half.
I think you need to pull a little harder this time.
Definitely.
That was the problem, I think.
1, 2, 3, Teddy, he actually disappears, but he actually sort of turns up all in different places. So I don't really know where he's going to turn up, but anyway, we'll see what happens. What he wants to do is cover this bunny with this. I haven't got my wall. Right. You still in there, bunny? Right. As I said. Right, as I said, this bunny can totally disappear and he can actually turn up. The shirt. Anyway, here we go. Abracadabra and the poor thing. Right, we'll now move on to a bit of small bit of juggling. Fire, we'll do some fire in a moment.
Can you all ride a unicycle?
Have you all ridden one before? Why is it one of these then and an ordinary bike? It's only got one wheel, so therefore you get half the amount of punches when you go out on for your Sunday bike ride. What else is different? It ain't got any handlebars. So what goes on the handlebars? The brakes. So therefore, if I happen to be riding this and I come towards you, I expect you to move. Otherwise, you might find yourself imprinted on the tyre. Obviously, the difficult thing is getting on it. So, here we go. She obviously won't stay still, so you can just hold her there. Can we have another person? You'll be perfectly alright, I can assure you you'll be perfectly alright. Just lay perfectly still. There we go.
Look there, children.
You never know, don't mind, like, I never
Here we go.
like all the place.
He's no juggler or a trick.
There we go. Sorry. Wahey! Thank you.
Let me out now.
You may get up now. See, no problem.
Well, I think you should get a member of the audience next time.
Yes, we'll have Ian Royal next time, I think.
Oh, hello.
They can eat it, but that's why
All we need now is someone who's got lights. Has anyone got lights? No.
Nobody's got a light. What's that? Someone's twirling
Get
that.
one, don't you?
I've shown tomatoes at us.
Paul, behind you. It's a lighter.
A lighter. No, no one's got light.
Oh, well, we'll get that What? Oh, well, who'd be brave enough to light it for you if you're lighting it?
it's my daddy.
Right, you doing the right stuff this morning?
I brought the stuff in the red can, yes?
Red can?
Red can.
Where's the yellow one?
The yellow one. Yes, the yellow one,
Oh,
yes.
right.
Yes.
Poor little one now.
Hey, let-
One.
Thank you.
What are you eating?
Looking a bit windy now. Whoa. I'm not sure this is a good idea. You're going to have to clap very quickly because this is going to go free. So when we started, but are you all ready? We're ready.
Okay, have another go.
Take two. Here comes Emma. Let's talk tonight. Okay, here we go.
There we go. Whoa!
I'm not sure if it's a good idea, Doc.
Lee.
You blow it out!
Right, would you like to see some fire eating?
No, I don't think it's a good idea tonight, really.
Then it'll be the grand finale.
Okay, we'll try for a bit of fire eating. Woo! No, it's too hot tonight.
Really too hot.
Too hot tonight? No, I don't think so at all.
I aren't doing it. I can't.
Look at the flames, they're huge.
Well, that won't matter. Go
I don't think I
on.
should see any fire eating. You don't want to see any fire eating. Well, if you want to see some fire eating, you're going to
Where's Mr. Solly? Here he is. Playing round the applause and playing. Give me another glass.
I know I could do those things. No, I can wait for that.
No.
Bye, Mr. Solly! This will be really good. Bye, Mr. Solly! Bye, Mr. Solly! Bye! See you next day! There, so that's going to be nice, isn't it?
Right.
I know what I'm going to do with that.
Would you like to just step in there, sir?
I think he's giving it to me. What happened? Brilliant! The end of Mr.
Go wrong, so we
The
don't
end
want
of
him
Mr.
to
Solly,
record.
everybody. Well done!
You pay extra for this, you know.
Right. For this act, I am a person all the way from Arizona. We have Minnie. Ha ha! Thank you. What we're going to actually do, we're going to tie these balloons on these hooks.
I know what they're going to do. They're going to prosper me. Mum, you left. Bang. Yeah, you come up to it and they go bang. No, they do. Madness. Yeah, that's on telly, man. Yeah, this is on telly. Good, that's Kylie. What?
You've been no extra.
Steve! She was telling whatever. Hey, go like this, baby. Go right.
I'm not moving.
I was. He's going to blindfold him.
Are you ready?
Blindfold him. You blindfold him.
Are you ready?
Blindfold.
What?
Blindfold.
Blindfold? Blindfold. What's blindfold?
Blindfold. Did you remember that? No. Oh, did not. No, you watch what they did. They're going to walk up. What?
Are you ready? Well, not very good. Are you ready?
No, he's going to put him at the big Say,
We got one. You have to try one side on left here.
My left ear
pulse.
Not the pulse you want to check.
Oliver, be quiet! Be quiet!
Hey, you!
What a sweet boy.
What did you want for a barbecue? Real blood?
Thank you!
Okay, we're going to have a quick 10-minute break. So if anyone like come and join the juggling workshop or come and have their faces painted, come back in 10 minutes.
You're watching Anglia Television. Well, there's a plea for help from Jack, which falls on deaf ears at 7 o'clock in Emmerdale. First, the Anglia News.
A man's found strangled at his home in a Norfolk village. Police have detained his wife and 2 men.
Coming on the market, the do-it-yourself breathalyzer already condemned by the police and the Home Office.
And the campaign to buy a home for the Essex supermum and the 30 children in her care. Hello, good evening again. Also tonight, the latest country walk with Christopher Somerville.
And Helen McDermott joining an evening class in circus skills.
But first tonight, police investigating the murder of a man in the quiet mid-Norfolk village of Elsing have detained his wife and 2 other men. The death of 34-year-old Andrew Pilch was discovered on Sunday, but it was only today that the police revealed they were treating it as murder. Andrew and Sarah Pilch had lived at the semi-detached cottage in Elsing for about 18 months. They had 2 children, 4-year-old Eleanor and Lewis, aged 5. The officer leading the investigation into Mr. Pilch's death explained why a murder inquiry was launched today, although the death had been discovered on Sunday.
Initially, when this body was found, it was treated as a normal sudden death by the officers who attended. It was only when there was a post-mortem examination carried out that led us to believe that it was not.
Police say Mr. Pilch was unemployed, but it's believed he had until recently worked in the computer industry. According to neighbours and friends, Mr. Pilch, though slightly disabled, was an active member of the Parochial Church Council, the Territorial Army and the Royal British Legion.
Well, all I know is that he was certainly a lovely boy, and he worked like a little navvy down the British Legion. He was down there working like nobody's business last Saturday. He even made £50 of plum chutney, and we all laughed about it, you know. And in fact, I got a jar. And as far as that's concerned, I knew he was in the army. Whether he's out of the army now, I don't know. I haven't a clue. But I knew he got a sort of disability because he walked, you know, but he drove a car. But he's been up here several times, and my husband, you know, well, he was shattered on Monday when we knew he just died. That's all we knew.
With the launch of the murder investigation today, house-to-house inquiries had begun in Elsing by officers in a 40-strong team based at a special incident room at Dereham Police Station. This was the appeal they made to the public.
We are obviously interested in anybody who is in Elsing between 10 a.m. and perhaps 10 p.m. on Sunday, who may have seen anything, may have heard anything, who would like to come and talk to us.
Armed police are standing by in Ipswich following a post office robbery in the town centre. 2 men have been arrested, but an intensive search is still going on for a 3rd man who could be armed and dangerous.
Armed police were put on standby after a handgun was found yards from the scene of the robbery. Shortly after 3:30 this afternoon, 3 black men walked into the post office on 4 Street. No one was hurt in the incident, but the owner was forced to hand over money before they made off on foot. The alarm was raised almost immediately and police arrested 2 men nearby. The 3rd man is still on the loose. He's described as black, 5 foot and tubby, wearing a grey shirt or jumper, dark trousers and white training shoes. Police say he could be armed and should be approached with caution. A white transit van, which may also have been involved in the robbery, was found in a nearby car park.
And in Cambridgeshire, police are hunting thieves who smashed their way into a post office and stole a substantial amount of cash. The raiders knocked in the front door of the Stulpfield Road post office at Grantchester, south of Cambridge. The safe was stolen and was found cut open in a nearby field. Telephone lines were cut by the thieves before the raid, and villagers were unable to raise the alarm.
A Royal Air Force Board of Inquiry today started an investigation into the crash of a Jaguar jet fighter from the Coltishall base in Norfolk. The pilot, 29-year-old Flight Lieutenant John Marsden, was killed when his plane crashed in the Solway Firth. Salvage teams have been trying to recover wreckage from the crashed aircraft to help discover what caused the accident. Many of the shoe factory workers facing redundancy in Lowestoft could be offered new jobs by the Japanese-owned television firm Sanyo. 170 staff are being made redundant with the closure of the Bally Shoes factory. The Japanese television makers Sanyo have now stepped in and say they could offer up to 100 jobs, both full-time and part-time. The companies say the Bally workers have the dexterity and skills for fine assembly work needed at Sanyo's Lowestoft factory.
Pubs in Essex are to be used to test a new device to help motorists decide whether or not they're sober enough to drive. The company responsible says the bar-top breathalyzer may save lives, but the police say it could lull drunken drivers into a false sense of security.
Testing. With the unlikely name of Patriot 5000, the DIY breathalyzer is American and for 50p reputedly capable of measuring the ratio of alcohol to blood to within 1/100th of 1%. It's being introduced to Britain by a pair of Essex businessmen who eventually hope to have a Patriot installed in every pub in Britain.
I mean, most people have got an idea in their minds of what they can take, what their capacity is before they'd be over the limit. But of course, most people have never actually tested themselves against anything to find out if their assumption is correct. I actually drank a pint and a half in this pub, tested myself and found I was well over the limit. And I, like many others, have always assumed that 2 pints was my capability. So in fact, it has changed my habits.
The idea is that pub customers buy a straw to blow into the machine. In return, a typically informal American lady relays one of 25 recorded messages telling them whether or not they're fit enough to drive.
Testing. Testing. Completed. You are high.
Alan Parrish says the Patriot already features in many American bars and has gained the approval of the transport authorities over there following stringent tests. But what of regulars in the Prince of Wales at Broxted, Essex?
Completed. You are okay.
Actually, no, I thought it was a bit more than that, actually.
What do you think of a machine like this?
It's not too bad. I think it will come in handy, you know, in the pub, and that people, you know, will obviously use it, you know, because they want to know if they can get home.
Official reaction, though, has been less enthusiastic, with the police, Department of Transport and Home Office all singularly unpatriotic.
In fact, a Whitehall spokesman said you shouldn't need a machine on a bar to put over the simple message, don't drink and drive. And the word from Hertfordshire Police was even more blunt. This device, they said, may not be as accurate as our breath testing equipment, and at the end of the day, it's our equipment that counts in court.
You have had it. Do not try to get lucky tonight.
A coach driver who fell asleep on the M25 after visiting a pub disco has been given a 6-month suspended jail sentence, fined £1,000 and banned from driving for 6 years. 3 women on a seaside outing were injured when the coach hit a motorway crash barrier. The coach finally stopped in Brentwood, where police found the driver had had more than twice the legal limit of alcohol. Raymond Fleming from Basildon is also expected to be barred from driving a bus or coach for life. Developers who want to build 1,000 homes at Long Stratton in South Norfolk will attempt tonight to win over villagers when they present revised proposals at a public meeting. The developers, Wilcon Homes, are offering the village a bypass and benefits worth more than £5 million. But today, objectors said it was nothing but bribery.
The ancient village of Long Stratton has campaigned for years for a bypass. Daily, its 3,000 residents face a never-ending stream of traffic on the A140, the main street. But now developers have come up with a solution. In return for planning permission to build 1,000 homes, they will give the village a £5 million bypass, a new village hall, 14 acres of public open space, 10% of all homes built to below cost, contributions towards extending the school, and more car parking for shoppers. But some of the villagers are not impressed.
The whole thing is just too big for a village the size of Long Stratton. It's too large a development, it'll swamp the place. As far as the bypass is concerned, I think there's one on the stocks already with the Department of Transport, and we should wait for that. As far as the other benefits are concerned, well, I call them bribes rather than anything else, and I don't think planning permission should be gained through bribery.
The developers want to build the homes on farmland to the east of the village, effectively doubling it. Benefits they offer are sometimes called planning gains. The developers dispute their sweeteners or bribes.
The planning system says that in exchange for getting certain planning permissions, a local authority is entitled to ask for contributions towards other infrastructure. And I can think in one very substantial site which we developed where we were asked to contribute towards a bypass and indeed construct a bypass. It's quite normal for road widening, perhaps for additional schooling. What has happened here is that we've sort of preempted the issue and said, look, if you are prepared to give us a planning permission, then we will offer these sort of planning gains.
South Norfolk District Council has just earmarked Long Stratton for 400 new homes.
What do you say about the Wilcon offerings? It's claimed they're sweeteners.
No, I don't think they are. This is a large proposal, about 1,000 houses, and any scheme of this size is going to require what loosely we call infrastructure to support it. Village halls, open space, playing fields, all that sort of thing. Access roads are necessary and essential for any large scheme.
Do you favour the scheme?
In principle, yes.
Why?
It basically accords with our local plan. We've just agreed last week a draft local plan for the Norwich part of South Norfolk, and in it there is a proposal of 400 houses in Long Stratton. This scheme would allow that to go ahead.
If the developers get their 1,000 new homes, the village won't change overnight. With the economy turning down, they could take years to sell. Tony Scase, Long Stratton.
New methods of making roads safer, known as traffic calming, could be tried out in Suffolk. The calming influence stems mainly from forcing drivers to slow down. The technique, widely used in Europe, can involve making roads narrower and footpaths wider, imposing speed limits, and installing road humps and rumble strips. A report by the county surveyor says the main drawback is cost. Treating a single village could cost £100,000.
An appeal's been launched to help a mum in a million. Jeanette Roberts, who lives in Essex, is mum to more than 50 children. In fact, she's been fostering and adopting children with various problems for more than 20 years. Now a trust fund's been launched to try to raise almost £500,000 to provide a permanent home for the supermum and her super kids.
It's family mealtime at the old convent, East Hanningfield. But this is no ordinary meal, and this is no ordinary family. It's almost a military-style operation when there are dozens of mouths to feed.
If you think of a reasonable-sized family of 3 and 4, and to this family with 50 to 56, it's a bit different, and I enjoy it very much.
Keeping the whole family together is Jeanette Roberts, who has been fostering and adopting children for more than 20 years. She believes the secret is to spend time with each child, but she says she's no supermum.
I'm just an average person, and what I do is enable these people to help each other, you know, to enable the children to give and to help each other. I certainly couldn't do it on my own. It's children, you see, can give a lot if adults can stand back and let them.
Everyone is allocated a job each day. The cooking and cleaning are a shared responsibility. Karen entered the family like many others, with a reputation for being difficult.
I came here as a young adult who I'd been on the streets, I'd been on drugs, been drinking, been in prison, hit the depths, and then happily someone contacted Mum and asked her to have me, and I've been with the family ever since.
What keeps you here?
The love and the caring for each other, and Mum's commitment, and I think this is the only place on earth I'd like to be.
The house the family occupy near Chelmsford is owned by a housing association. A special trust fund, which supports the family, has set itself an ambitious target.
Well, we're set a target of £460,000 for the purchase of the house. And I know we'll raise it, but we also want to go above that to actually maintain the house after it's purchased.
I think it's imperative that we try to purchase the property. At the moment, the trust is having to pay £1,000 a month for it, which is draining our resources. And if we buy it, then obviously we would have that money to put to better use. And also it would secure the children's future.
A fundraising fair will be held this Saturday from 11 o'clock at the lower playing fields in nearby Danbury. Some of these children had a bleak outlook until Jeanette Roberts became mum.
The first thing I try to do when a child comes into my family is give them back some self-respect and self-value, because I find that most of them who have been rejected or neglected or abused in one way or another have lost their own value for themselves, and they consider that they're worthless. And my first job, as I see it, is to put something back and make them realise that they are one of the most valuable things on this earth.
The families say they're living proof of the power of love. For Jeanette, there's no such thing as a no-hoper. Timothy Evans, East Hanningfield.
A super mum indeed. We'll take a break now. After that, we'll be walking out with Christopher Somerville, this time in the Norfolk countryside.
And we meet a class aiming for the top, the big top, at a night school for circus skills. Join us again.
When I first started out, I was burdened down with sin. A change in my life needed to be. Now there's a change in the ocean, there's a change in the deep sea, and I really know there's been a change in me. Oh, yes, I really know there's been a change in me.
Can your powder clean better than Ariel Ultra? Look, wine-stained napkins, which sometimes only get this clean. Get amazingly clean with Ariel Ultra. No powder cleans better.
The amazing Vauxhall Nova Turbo Diesel from Gales. Unbelievable economy and performance for only £6,999 from Gales of Beccles and Diss.
This great new EDP.
This great new EDP.
With what's on every day.
With what's on every day.
Much more local news, entertainment reviews.
It's bigger and brighter and better. Your great new EDP.
EDP, the changed paper.
Makes Norfolk life complete. Makes Norfolk life complete.
Hello again. Well, it's time now to join Christopher Somerville on another of what are proving to be his immensely popular country walks. And if you've felt that some of Christopher's routes have been, well, ambitiously long for you, there's really no excuse for denying yourself the pleasures of this one.
Are you feeling well and truly lazy? If so, this is the walk for you. You can leave the boots and the knapsack at home because we're off to the Broadland Conservation Centre at Ramworth Broad near South Walsham to explore their duckboard trail, all 500 yards of it. Not much of a walk, John Francis and I were thinking as we set out, but we were in for quite a surprise. The Broadland Conservation Centre itself is the first surprise. It's more of a boat than a building because it literally floats on the water of the Broad. Cast off the mooring chain and you might end up in Great Yarmouth. The warden at the Conservation Centre is Richard Handley.
Well, a lot of people are very surprised that we are here. A lot of local people come and they express interest and surprise that this building's been here, for 14 years. So surprise is one of the feelings we get, and joy, and the people are very grateful for it, which is very nice.
Why are they grateful?
Because they didn't know they could get this close to the habitat. You can come along the path here and be right in amongst this habitat, which is usually inaccessible to people because of its nature, and access to the Broads is quite restricted unless you're on a boat. But even so, when you're on a boat, you can't always get well into the habitat as you can here. The exhibition's here to teach people about the history of the Broads right from the beginning, to make them more aware of how fragile this wetland habitat is, and also to provide them with a viewing platform. We have binoculars and telescopes so they can bird watch from here. But it's very important that more people learn about the fragility of this habitat.
The Norfolk Broads were excavated as peat diggings back in medieval times, and after they were worked out they became flooded and crammed full of wildlife, an amazing variety of birds, plants, insects and animals. You'd think, wouldn't you, that such a unique area with all its lovely scenery and its wildlife would keep its character no matter what changes happened around it. But sadly you'd be wrong. That delicate balance of nature was the result of centuries of continuous hard work by the people who got their livelihoods from the Broads, the sort of work that just doesn't get done these days.
So how were the Broads managed in the old days?
Well, things have changed. In the old days there was a great need for thatching materials, so the thatchers used to cut back the reeds at the edge of the Broad to make the main body of the roof, and then sedges to make the top of it. And the wildfowlers and fishermen and so on, of course, kept them clear as well for their own purposes.
So when thatching went into decline, presumably that had quite an effect on the Broads?
It did have a big effect because as the thatch wasn't being cut out of the Broads, the vegetation simply marched on to meet itself in the middle of the Broad and choked the Broad to death. Nature simply threw out the water and brought on the green. And we can see exactly the effect of that as we walk down the duckboard trail here. But I hope you're fit because it's a long way, a third of a mile at least. Be very careful here, John. If you fall off this, you'll find yourself face to face with a great amount of black, sticky goo and have to pull you out by your hair. All this is floating on a kind of peaty sludge. Because these places have not been cut back, they've simply become completely choked with all this lovely green vegetation you can see around. And this is called open fen. It doesn't look very open, does it? You've got the reed mace, the tall things like guardsman's busbies, or sometimes I think like recorder pull-throughs. And you've got the great hairy willow herb, that's the pink one, and lovely plants too. And on the top of the milk parsley here, there's a green and orange and black striped caterpillar, and that caterpillar is of the swallowtail butterfly. You know, that enormous, beautiful yellow thing which flits around privileged Broads in Norfolk.
So obviously nature is staking its claim again on this Broad. What happens if that process just goes on and on?
If it just continues, well, you can see what happens exactly. This is the perfect spot to see it. If you look across the open fen there, you see the bushes coming up. That's alder and willow and sallow, things that like to get their feet wet. And that's called swamp car woodland. And then if you look over beyond it again, you see the taller trees, that's wet woodland. And then beyond those again, right at the edge of the whole process, you get the dry oak woodland. So in fact, things just grow up and up and up as they get drier and drier, until eventually what was a huge open sheet of water is a piece of dry, mature woodland.
We really need to get up above all this, don't we, to get a proper view of it?
It's hard to see it with all this green stuff sort of waving around at head level, but I think I know exactly the place.
Okay.
There really is a superb view across the whole of the Broads from the top of Ramworth Church Tower, an absolutely memorable scene. I say 3 cheers for the duckboard trail, because we've had a lot of fun and also learned a lot in a painless way about how delicately balanced nature is in this wonderful Norfolk Broads landscape.
Yes, indeed, and a jolly good time was had by all. And we've had literally hundreds and hundreds of requests for our maps and guides for the walk so far. And if you'd like the latest, send your name and address to Somerville's Walks, Anglia Television, Norwich NR1 3JG. That's Somerville's Walks, Anglia Television, Norwich NR1 3JG. In fact, if you write, we'll post you all 6 walks, so you don't have to send in each time. And at the end of the first series, and I'm delighted to say that Christopher will be doing more, you'll also, if you prefer, be able to pick up all the maps and guides at our regional news centres in Norwich, Chelmsford and Ipswich.
Plans for Europe's first auto park, a giant supermarket for car dealers and buyers, have been put forward in West Norfolk. Developers say it would create 300 jobs. They want to spend £20 million transforming a disused airfield at North Pickenham near Swaffham into an American-style auto park with 24 motor dealers on one site, so customers can drive round and choose a car supermarket style. One of Britain's rarest and most poisonous plants has been found growing close to a nursing home in Norfolk. The thorn apple gets its name from the fruit, looking like a cross between a crabapple and a conker. Plant spotters from all over the country, the plant world's equivalent of twitchers, have been heading for Aylmerton near Cromer to see the plant. Leaves, flowers, stem and fruit all contain the same poison as deadly nightshade. It's been used to treat asthma. The nursing home owner, Robert Mallett, says he's heard that it has also been used for horse doping and as a folk medicine. He'd like to trace anyone who can verify the legends.
Now, if you're worried about keeping fit, but you really can't motivate yourself to take up jogging or aerobics, then perhaps we can suggest a novel way to help you burn off those inches. What about juggling, unicycling and stilt walking? They're all among the subjects on offer in the adult education courses in Cromer. And not only will you feel fitter, learning circus skills could even open up a new career.
Until about 3 years ago, Paul Carpenter lived up to his name, working by day as a carpenter and builder, but by night it was a different story. Paul had gone along to evening classes to learn circus skills, and in just a matter of months he was to emerge with a new name and a new job. Now the carpenter has turned teacher, and Doc Spinoff shows others how, like him, they too can feel 10 feet tall. What sort of people come along?
I suppose people really who wants to improve either sort of like certain things like ball skills. You know, some people come along basically footballers and want to be able to do different things with them. Generally people just have good fun as well, I think.
Can anyone come along, any age?
Any age above 18, up to 70, providing they could walk. But then again, even if they were in a wheelchair, they could probably come along and juggle.
And it keeps you fit?
Very fit. As you can see, a lot of people are sweating most of the time. So.
Through fear for some, but the thing to remember that it was good for us and we'd get a lot of fun out of it, eventually. Some, like Doc, would get hooked enough to take up these skills as a profession, but for the majority, it was the challenge that mattered. What do you gain from this, do you think?
A lot of frustration, but at the end, right? At the end, you can do something that not a lot of other people can do.
I find it very relaxing to juggle. It's quite satisfying when you can actually achieve a new move.
And you can show off to people.
And you can show off to people like that.
When I get to do it properly, it'll be enjoyable, but the concentration is the hardest part.
Do you now admire people in a circus?
Yeah, I think you appreciate their skill and the strength, I think, as well.
What have you... Sorry.
It's all right, I'm trying to concentrate.
Is it dangerous at all?
I don't think any of it's not really dangerous, no. I think if a club perhaps hit you in the eye, they've got rubber ends on, which tend to bruise you a bit, but nothing really too dangerous. Perhaps the stilts would probably be the most dangerous thing. If you happen to fall off them, I think you could probably break your leg, but everything here is quite safe to come along and have a go on, I think.
It's one way of getting to know somebody. Thank you. It's the first time I've been able to see the top of somebody's head. And Doc would like to see more people having a go and even persuade schools to add circus skills to their curriculum to help keep not only the body, but the mind active. Helen McDermott, Walking Tall in Cromer.
Suppose you're right.
What I wouldn't give to have had the same opportunity with my son.
You looking for a ride home? What, to Terry's house? Tom, when are you going to stop this stupidity, mate? Oh, well, it was nice seeing you too, Dad. Look, don't get smart with me, Tom. Dad, I'm living with Terry, so deal with it. Tom, just listen to me for a minute, mate. Look, you're 17 years of age. You've got a family. Same old lame speech. Your mother is worried sick about you. We've been through this 100 times. Look, Tom, I'm not saying this again. Either you come home now or you never come home, you hear me? And if you think I'm kidding or it's some sort of idle threat, then you just try me.
If we keep pushing him, Sal, the boss will freak. I'm serious. I know the guy.
Vinny, I have told you what to do. Get all the kids together. I mean, if there's a heap of you, he can't just blame you, can he?
Camouflage by numbers. I like it.
You like it?
I like it.
And then it's worth a shot.
Hey, I got your message. What's up?
One guess.
Your father.
He's lost the plot.
You're telling me. Practically had a screaming match with him earlier.
He's acting like a complete freak. He's given me an ultimatum. Either I go home now, otherwise I'm never welcome there again.
What are you going to do?
Well, I want to stay with you.
Then let's make it final.
What do you mean?
Well, let's go and pick up all your stuff. Have you got a lot of things still there?
Oh, I've got a bit of stuff in Gypsy's room, some clothes in the cupboard. That's about it.
Okay. Let's go and get it tonight. Maybe this will teach your father a lesson he should have learned a long time ago.
Mini Baby Bell, small cheese, big fun.
We got a great deal on the kitchen and a dishwasher free.
We love it.
You'll love the change at the MFI Homework sale now.
Why'd you like these new personal colour care tablets?
See this shirt? Sharp as the day I bought it.
That'll be because they have an ingredient which helps stop colours running into one another.
Does it stop girlfriends running into one another too?
Persil's new colour care tablets. The simpler way to vibrant colours.
Now it's so easy to help keep your teeth clean and white. Introducing new Ice White from Wrigley's. The great-tasting sugar-free chewing gum proven to reduce the stains that build up on your teeth, time after time, throughout the whole day. Just by chewing great-tasting Ice White, your teeth will feel cleaner and look whiter. So chew new Ice White. It's the easy way to cleaner, whiter teeth.
Sweet like chocolate, boy. Sweet like chocolate, boy. Say ooh, la la, say ooh. Come on, say ooh, la la.
37 big tunes mixed by the Rough Drivers. National Anthems 99, out now.
Hai mai sentito un telefonino che suona un pezzo orientale? Beh, io ne ho fatto uno per il C25.
Small, light, smart. The new Siemens C25. Get it? Be inspired.
I'm sorry if I appear to be interfering.
No, not at all. Please, have a seat.
Thank you.
What did you want to talk about?
Miranda.
What about her?
Joey, she's really upset that you won't even speak to her.
Yeah, well...
Look, everyone I talk to thinks very highly of you, and you seem to be such a nice young man. I just can't understand why you would be treating her like this.
And, how exactly would that be?
Well, you know you can't catch HIV just like that. There's no sense in you avoiding her.
I'm avoiding her because I'm angry, not because of anything else. I feel for Miranda, I really do, but she lied to me. She didn't tell me the truth, and in my book, that is as good as lying. Whereas I always told the truth, right from the very beginning. I'm sorry if it seems unreasonable, but I expect the same in return.
I hope everyone's hungry. That roast looks huge.
Sorry, what was that?
You're not here tonight, are you?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Hi.
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 Oh, did you guys?
You're expecting someone else?
Oh, I just thought it might have been Tom, that's all. So where you two been?
Down the boat.
Paying our last respects.
I think smells good. What's cooking? A roast. Oh, yum. Do you want me to give you a hand?
Oh, no, I think I've got it covered.
Well, I might go and freshen up. Okay.
Why did you think Tom would be coming here? Have you been talking to him?
Oh, we had a little chat.
What do you mean we had a little chat? You didn't do anything stupid, did you?
Nat, would you just relax?
Joel, what aren't you telling me?
Look, honey, it's okay. Everything's gonna be fine.
He's a beautiful boy, then. If only your mother could see you now. You must miss her the same as I do.
I spoke to Joey earlier.
Oh? And what did he have to say for himself?
Well, it turns out he's only upset because Miranda lied to him instead of trusting him with the truth.
Yes, I thought it might be something like that. Joey's not the sort of person to just drop someone without good reason.
So you think he's genuine?
Genuine?
Yeah, I mean, is he the sort of person who would be so deeply offended by a white lie?
Well, I can only say that Joey is one of the most moral young men I've ever known.
What are you talking about?
Joey.
Why?
Because I went to see him.
Mum, what did you do that for?
Just listen to me. I think you're wrong about him, Miranda.
But you didn't see the way he treated me.
Well, he's not treating you like that because of the HIV. He's just hurt because you lied to him.
Oh, sure, as if.
If my opinion counts for anything, Miranda, I think your mother's right.
Did he say that?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Well, what was I supposed to do? It's not exactly the easiest thing in the world to tell someone.
I think he'd appreciate it if you explained that to him.
What's the use? The damage is done.
Don't you think you owe it to yourself to give him another chance?
It's a lovely meal, Nat.
Yeah, it's great.
Thanks.
Hello?
Tom! Well, perfect timing. I've just cooked a roast. Listen, I'll get you a plate.
Glad you decided to come home, son.
Sorry, Dad, but I'm only here to get the rest of my stuff.
Tom, please. Why don't we just sit down and talk about this?
Sorry, Mum, but I'm not staying. You wanted to make this final? Well, that's what I'm doing.
What the hell did you say to that boy?
You didn't just hide the truth from me. You made up this huge, elaborate lie about some car accident.
I said I was sorry, okay?
But I believed you.
Do you know how hard it is to tell someone that you like that you're HIV positive? Look, I've said it 100 times, and I will say it again. I'm truly sorry. I never meant to hurt you. Just wasn't all that easy to say. And I was scared you'd run off. The last time I told someone the truth, I ended up having to leave school.
So is that why you came here?
Yeah. I told my best friend, and... well, she used to be my best friend anyway.
She blabbed?
She told someone who told someone else, and before I knew it, the whole school knew. They weren't exactly sympathetic.
Must have been hard for you.
It's an understatement. So am I forgiven?
Well, I don't know. But if you show up on the beach tomorrow morning, I might just be willing to tell you.
You're on.
Tom, please, just stay. Let's work this out.
It won't work, Mum. We've already tried. See you guys.
So you're going to turn your back on your family just like that?
Look, Mum, Dad's the one that said I'm not welcome here anymore.
Tom, please. I'm asking you to stay.
Well, he doesn't want me here.
Of course your father wants you here. He didn't mean what he said. You're always welcome in this house.
Even if I'm going out with Terry? Yeah, I thought so.
You stupid, stubborn man. Look what you've done now.
Yeah, I'm cool.
You didn't sleep very well.
Just getting used to my new pad, that's all.
Come on, you don't have to play tough with me. I know it's hard.
Who needs families anyway, huh? Completely overrated, if you ask me. Besides, you're my new family now.
Yeah, I guess I am.
This is amazing, babe.
Oh, just slow down or you'll get indigestion.
Who do you reckon invented bacon and eggs?
I don't know.
Well, it's a genius concept, I think. I mean, who would have thought that an unborn chicken and a dead pig would go so well together?
That's gross.
There's nothing gross about it.
Oh, there might be a few vegetarians that would disagree with you.
If God wanted the world to be vegetarian, he would have made the chickens run faster.
Is that right?
That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
What happened with Mr. Fisher in the book anyway? Did you call around?
I called almost everyone in the class, and they all agreed we should do something about it. Big Daddy's gonna go down, baby.
I'm so proud of you, Vinny.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to fight for something when you've got nothing to lose, but it's definitely another to jeopardise $50,000 for it.
Yeah, forgotten about that.
Hey, you're late.
You're forgiven.
Oh, I'm forgiven. I should be the one forgiving you. You were meant to be here ages ago.
I'm sorry, I slept through my alarm. Do you mind if I ask you a personal question?
That depends what it is.
Well, you don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
It's okay. I know what it is anyway.
Yeah?
You're wondering how I got it, aren't you?
How'd you know that?
Well, it's not exactly a hard one to guess.
Well, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. I understand.
No, that's okay. I do. About a year ago, I was going out with this guy. And... well, anyway, I really liked him, and I couldn't believe he liked me too. It was my first real relationship. Everything was perfect. And finally, we decided to take things further. And we'd forgotten to get any protection, and well, I was too nervous to say anything. Now I get to spend the rest of my life wishing I had. It's pretty stupid, huh?
Thanks for being honest.
Chamomile, huh? That's a good idea. Wouldn't mind one myself. Are you okay?
Not really, no.
Nat, please, look, I'm not happy about how everything's turned out either.
Really? Well, why don't you do something to fix it then? Swallow your pride for once.
It's not a matter of pride.
What is it then? What is all this about?
Discipline.
Discipline?
Look, just listen to me.
No, Joel, you listen to me. I want my son back. Do you understand? I don't care anymore what you think. You either fix this damn mess or
what?
Or I don't know. I don't know what this will mean for us.
For us?
Us. You and me.
Christine Fletcher, a doctor whose career is breaking new ground. Christine Fletcher, a woman whose marriage is breaking her heart.
Was she the first?
Nothing happened, Christine.
The intent was there, the want was there, so don't you dare say nothing happened.
Neve Cusack, Martin Shaw, always and everyone.
I don't like it when there's nothing I can do.
You could have been with me. New drama.
You're a doctor first and a wife second.
Monday at 9, ITV.
I'm sorry. I should have been there.
A feature-length Heartbeat special, never seen before on television. Heartbeat, Changing Places, Sunday at 8:20, ITV.
Do you look after someone with an illness or disability, or someone who's elderly? Whether they're your parent, partner, child, or just a friend, whether they live with you or not, you're a carer. You're entitled to an assessment from social services, who may be able to arrange home help, Meals on Wheels, or other support, including benefits. For details, call Anglia Action on Ipswich 217 363.
some very special lenses. They're called reactions because they react to light. So I only need one pair of spectacles for all these conditions. But don't take my word for it. At Specsavers Opticians, when you buy complete price spectacles from their £69 range or above, you'll get Specsavers reaction lenses fitted free of charge, so you can try them yourself.
New bird scoops. A cool custard dip with apple biscuit sticks.
Bleep. Bleep, bleep. Bleep. Bleep, bleep. Bleep, bleep. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Bleep, bleep.
Bird scoops. The custard snack you can enjoy almost anywhere.
Disneyland Paris invites you to spend an unforgettable summer. Discover our spectacular late-night entertainment and our exciting new attraction, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. Disneyland Paris. The magic is closer than you think. Call us now on 0990 030302.
Wake up, pup. Lots more tissue has been added to every sheet of Andrex for bouncy softness. Spread the news. Get your paws on Bouncy Soft Andrex.
Airwatch, sponsored by Anglian Home Improvements.
Clean northwesterly winds are helping keep pollution levels low. They'll be low tomorrow too. One pollutant, sulphur dioxide, is very low. These are today's readings. The highest is just 15 in Cambridge. Plenty of cloud around tomorrow and just occasional sunny spells. So a UV index of 3, meaning only a low or medium risk of sunburn.
Airwatch, sponsored by Anglian Home Improvements.
Our supermarkets might soon be forced into the most vicious price war in their history. The French pay less. The Germans pay less. Americans pay less. The British say enough is enough. Is our high-price bubble about to burst? Tonight with Trevor McDonald at 10.
This is Anglia Television.
Hello and welcome once again to About Anglia. Tonight on your bike for National Bike Week, the attractions of pedal power.
And who's gonna kiss where it hurts?
That's the way to travel. Well, also in the programme, the sounds of the 70s with the voice of Dr. Hook.
Flirts the way I do.
Rough, tough tappers from Down Under in The Ticket. And does Ken make a splash as Norfolk's own Baywatch Babe? But first, National Bike Week begins on Saturday, and there are hundreds of events planned across the region to mark the occasion. Well, thousands are expected to take part, and among them is former Anglia weatherman Jim Bacon, who's always been a cycling enthusiast. Hello, Jim. Lovely to see you again.
Good to be back.
Now, what are the benefits of riding a bike?
It's good fun, really. Cycling is good for you, and it's a healthy occupation. It's a good way of getting to work. I arrive at work feeling refreshed. Well, no, I don't. I arrive at work feeling a bit tired, to be honest. But it is good to get out in the fresh air. And the thing that I find that I miss when I don't travel on the bike is that you have time on a bicycle to see things. And you ride, whether it's through the city or through the countryside, you've got time to look up the alleyways, to the courtyards, to notice buildings, to notice what's going on in the fields around you. And you have a totally different view of the world that you pass through. And most people just pass through it in a tin box and they miss it all.
Sadly, I miss it all because I've got my face on the ground. I still haven't learnt it. I'm sorry.
You were very good, though. You showed promise, I
Okay,
think.
well, I'll have another go, I promise you.
Do that.
Yes, OK. Well, Chris Biggs has just launched a new kind of taxi service in Great Yarmouth, which relies totally on pedal power. Hello.
Hello.
Now, it relies totally on pedal power. What sort of business is it?
It's a bicycle rickshaw business, and it's a three-wheeled bicycle, and I have two passengers in the back, and I run them from the Britannia Pier down to Pleasure Beach along the Great Yarmouth seafront.
Right, we've actually got some pictures of you doing this, which we're going to have a look at. Is it hard work?
In windy conditions and bad weather, yes, it's very hard work, yeah.
So you go out in any conditions, do you?
Other than rain, because obviously the machine takes a lot of cleaning and preparation and things like that, so I try and keep it spick and span, and if it does rain, I'll go home.
Don't blame you. And it's obviously very good for the legs. I love the legs,
very
love the
good,
socks.
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Well, good luck with it.
Thank you.
Well, we've got some unusual bikes, as you may well have noticed in the studio, and we saw you right at the beginning there. Now, you were a builder to begin with.
Yes, that's right,
Yeah.
yes.
So how did all this come about then?
I started juggling at an evening class and finally got into the circus side of things, and basically to make tricky bikes for the public to actually ride.
Right, so you go around to sort of fetes and carnivals and things like that, do you?
Yes, that's right,
Yeah,
yes.
all sorts of things. Now, what does this bike do?
Well, this bike, you turn left to go right, which is actually called the unrideable bike.
Is it? That might be okay for me. They're all unrideable. You're going to give us a little demo of what you can do then, are
Yes.
you? Well, loads of things going on throughout the week, and I've got some of the details here. Now, Jim, how about giving this one a go? A bike strip and garden party. Do you fancy that?
Not till August, no, I'll wait for that one.
It's going to be good weather,
It'll be
is it?
warmer, yeah, certainly warmer.
And here's another one, a bicycle biryani. What do you think of that?
Oh, yeah, that sounds good, doesn't it?
Are you on the front?
Probably, yes. Yeah, certainly
Well,
not
yeah, best way
the
to be,
back.
I think. Okay, well, if you'd like to know more about what is happening over the week, then we have a fact sheet available with some of the details. For the moment, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. Thanks a lot. Well, now it's time to join Sam Norman for comedy and some rough, tough, tasty tap dancers in The Ticket.
Hello, well, the region's biggest arts festival is upon us again. Yep, it's the 52nd Aldborough Festival. And this year, the festival director is the brilliant young composer Thomas Addis, whose racy opera about the Duchess of Argyll kicks off proceedings tomorrow night at Snape Maltings. More of that later. Now, one of the venues for the festival is the Aldborough Cinema, a very enterprising place, and on the 25th of June, it's going to be premiering the film version of The Clandestine Marriage.
It was to be the perfect match. A union between those.
Mr. Sterling. Soon to be brother, my lord. Oh, I anticipate that moment with gusto, sir. With gusto.
Who wish to give.
Oh, my dear, and you are to be my son's wife.
Happily, sir.
And those.
Wealth without class, you see. Mr. Sterling will never be rid of the gutter, nor his sister neither.
Who need to take.
Pity we need their money, sir. Daughters are tolerable, I suppose. Youngest is delectable.
Money. That's the stuff that makes a man great in this country.
My lord, you haven't seen my watercourse yet.
No, 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 no.
A comedy set in 1776, it's as relevant today as it was then. The film has a tremendous cast, including Nigel Hawthorne, Joan Collins, and Timothy Spall. Well, here I am at Snape, and with me is Jonathan Reekie, who's the chief executive of Aldborough Productions. How do you think the festival's changed since its inception?
I think the essential character of it hasn't changed at all, and I hope it never will, because it's something very special. But the festival's grown a lot over the years. The most obvious growth took place in 1967 when Snape Maltings Concert Hall was converted, and in fact we're right at the end of a major Arts Council lottery funded refurbishment.
Which you can hear sometimes in the background.
Which you can hear and should be finished by Friday.
Now, what are the highlights of this year's festival?
Well, I suppose the most obvious highlight is that we kick off with an opera called Powder Her Face by Thomas Addis.
Sounds wonderful. He's the festival director.
And he's the
isn't he?
new festival artistic director, exactly. The third composer in the festival's history to take over as artistic director.
And obscenely young.
Obscenely young and talented.
And talented, yeah. Jonathan, do you think you could tell me what Powder Her Face is about?
It's about the rise and decline of a lady, of a human being, who starts out life with everything and ends up with nothing. So it's a very sad and pathetic piece in a way. But it's also very funny the way Thomas Addis has written it. And it's loosely based on the life of Margaret, Duchess of Argyll, who was a very infamous figure.
Thomas Addis has been quoted as saying that he doesn't want to change modern music, he wants to change the people who listen to it.
I think what he's talking about is really trying to give audiences the maximum opportunities to hear and understand and ultimately enjoy new music. He's also said that he doesn't have any problem about composers writing in all sorts of different styles and ways. So he's not somebody with a particularly narrow musical agenda.
Right.
I think he wants to open it out.
Thank you, Jonathan, and more about the festival later. And now to the west of the region for a rough, tough reinvention of tap dancing. They're from down under and they're called Tap Dogs. The 6 Australian male cast actually build the set from scaffolding and steel girders as they tap out their unrelenting and infectious rhythms. Tap Dogs will be at the Derngate, Northampton from the 14th to the 19th of June. Changing the mood now, and a piece of dance theatre which wowed the contemporary dance world last year, Planted Seeds. Dancer and choreographer Darshan Singh Bulla created Planted Seeds after seeing firsthand the suffering of the people in former Yugoslavia. Planted Seeds is on at the Civic Theatre Chelmsford this Saturday and the Norwich Playhouse next Saturday. Time for some music now, and while the Rolling Stones are rattling their old bones at Wembley Arena this weekend, their ex-bassist Bill Wyman is touring the Anglia region with his Rhythm Kings.
Take me back down where cool water flows on. Let me remember things I love, y'all. Stopping at the log where catfish bites.
Bill Wyman's Rhythm Kings are at the Marina Theatre Lowestoft on Saturday and at the Theatre Royal in Norwich on Sunday. Next weekend they're in Ipswich, Brentwood and Northampton.
Wonder if my rope's still hanging to the tree. Got to stick my feet way down in shallow water. Shoot my dragonfly, get back to mother.
In part 2, a film that's causing as big a buzz as Star Wars, The Matrix. Terence Frisbee's new stage comedy, Funny About Love, plus Ken making a splash as a Baywatch babe, and the man who was the voice of 70s band Dr. Hook talks to Helen.
Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz?
Right Guard Double Protection doesn't just keep you dry, it keeps you feeling fresh from the shower all day.
I'm no shrinking violet. I refuse to let my hair color fade into the background. I use Recital by L'Oreal. Stay True colorants that resist fading mean color won't fade out. Special conditioners mean hair won't dry out. Is your color glorious? Oh, I think it is. And I'm worth it. Fade-resistant Recital by L'Oreal.
The voice of Kenny Rogers.
You picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. Lady.
Kenny Rogers, all the hits and all new love songs. A 2-CD set containing 20 original greatest hits and his brand new album, After Dark, a superb collection of love songs.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are. No
Kenny Rogers, all the hits and all new love songs, out now.
Welcome back. You're watching The Ticket on About Anglia. Now, the Albury Festival really does have something for everybody, even walks. And here at the Moot Hall is the departure point for two of them. One to the historic Suffolk market town of Hadley, and the other to the beautiful gardens of Somerleyton Hall. And you can find details of those on our website. And speaking of which, for those of you who prefer cyberspace to open space, then this week's film release is The Matrix. It stars Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne. It's a stylish sci-fi thriller, and it's directed by the Wachowski brothers, who are turning technophobia mainstream.
You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
Okie dokie. Free my mind.
So what if he makes it?
No one's ever made the first jump.
I know. But what if he does?
He won't. Come on. Free my mind. No problem. Right.
Terence Frisbee wrote the smash hit play There's a Girl in My Soup. If you haven't seen it, you've no doubt heard of it. But his new comedy, Funny About Love, comes to the region this week. It stars Stephanie Beacham and Sean Maguire.
So, hello.
Hello.
Well?
I didn't know if you'd let me in.
Shouldn't I have?
No, it's all right. Like I said in the speaker, no bother. You needn't be scared.
I'll try not.
I just wanted to...
What?
Well, I don't know. To see, maybe. How does it feel to have your old man run away with my missus?
Whose missus she is doesn't affect how I feel about it.
Oh, no. I suppose not, really. The story all evolves around two characters who've been dumped. It's about the two dumpees, really, and how they're sort of left out on their own and how they're coping. And they're brought together and kind of hatch a plan to get revenge, really.
You are. The other part of the equation. The other dumpee.
Come again?
Dumpee. Haven't you been discarded as well?
Oh, yeah. Funny, isn't it?
Funny.
Well, I mean this, us standing here.
Rollicking. Perhaps you better sit down.
Cheers. Stephanie and I get on so well. I mean, she sort of a lot of the times been giving me a lift home and we've had good chats, and she's kind of like a really cool auntie. That's the sort of relationship I have with her. You know, we talk about just about everything, and I'm learning an awful lot with her as well. She's got so much more stage experience than me.
I thought I'd come to terms with it. Piers and I rationalised the situation together. How wonderful. How responsible. Not childless, we decided, but child-free. But you see, each of us privately thought that it was the other one who's sterile. I've just been pleading for sterility from the whole human race, and when I find out that it's only me who can't... What a useless creature I am.
We're in Cambridge at the Arts Theatre till Saturday night is our last show, and then from Monday the 14th of June we start at the Norwich Theatre Royal. Would you like me to give you a massage?
What?
Well, I'm very good at feet, and then I could work my way upwards.
You mean you're...
Well, if things develop.
Whatever for?
I thought it might cheer you up a bit.
Well, that was Funny About Love, and now for some Mixed Emotions, which is the title of Beverly Craven's new album. It's her first for 6 years because she's taken time out to bring up her 3 children, but now she's keen to get back on the road.
Here in the silence I wait, there's nothing else I can do. It feels like my heart's gonna break, and all I can think of is you. And how my aching arms long to hold you and show you
Craven's performing at the Stables, Milton Keynes tonight, the Marina Theatre Lowestoft on the 18th and the Corn Exchange, Kings Lynn on the 22nd of June. If you want to double-check dates and venues, you can visit the ticket website or look us up on teletext page 616. Well, that's it for this week, but hang about because still to come, Ken as a Baywatch babe and Helen talking to the voice of Dr. Hook. Goodbye.
Yes, thanks, Sam. A Baywatch babe. You?
I know, I can't believe it either, but yes, Baywatch is alive and kicking in Hunstanton in North Norfolk.
I'd like to thank the viewer who suggested I become a cast member of Baywatch. So I'm with the lifeguards of Hunstanton to test the water to see if I could really become a real-life lifeguard. What it's like to live here and live the life of a lifeguard?
Live the life of a lifeguard? Well, day to day, it's a routine thing. We come in, we set up, which means we get the boards out, we put our flags up, we have to set up our patrol, and then we have to log on with Coast Guard at Great Yarmouth. We patrol the beach, we can patrol the water on our boards. Our main problem is lost children first aids. We have a lot of them during the summer, and that's about it really.
So what skills do I require to become a lifeguard?
First of all, it helps if you can swim. You have to be a good swimmer. You need board skills because we use a paddleboard and a surf ski, so you need to be good on both of them. First aid skills, you have to go through a full first aid course to do so, and you have to be good with people because you do come across people in this job every day, all the time, so you have to be good.
Right, I think I've got this. Right, I swam for Southern England, my mum was a member of the Red Cross, and people just love me. Right, on patrol. Hello, Hunstanton lifeguard speaking.
Hello there.
Hello. How are you?
I'm all right, nice to see you.
Do you feel secure that I'm here?
All right.
All right. Do you come here often? Hello.
Morning.
Now, I'm a trainee lifeguard. Do you feel safe that I've never done this before? Do you feel safe now you know that I'm here?
Absolutely.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
What's this? Actually, what is this?
This is a lifeguard can. If you get in trouble in water, we give you this and then we tow you along. You go, hold it. Can you hold it? Hold on to that. That's it. And then we pull you along in the water.
I want to hold on to have all day.
No.
Well, I've tested my people power and now it's time to get into the water. What's this plastic thing we're sitting on?
This is a Malibu board. It's used for shoreline rescues and it's quicker than swimming.
Oh, that's good, because I'm not that good at swimming.
Well, it's easier to use.
So you're going to show me how it's done?
Yep.
All right, then, go on then.
The Malibu board wasn't for me, so I thought, have a go on the quad bike, seeing as I'm a bit of a land lubber.
That was brilliant. Can I have a ride? Oh, I don't know. Oh, go on, let me. All right. Not quite what I had in mind. Come on then. That way. Nikki, I've had a wonderful day on the beach. Tell me, how did I get on?
You did pretty well with the people, but you need a lot more work on your practical side. If you get your qualifications, then come back, you'll do pretty well.
Oh, there's hope for me yet. Well, I wonder where they're going to send me next week.
So, what are you going to be doing next week then?
Well, next week I'm still at the beach, but I'm going to be a beach mascot.
Was it cold at the beach there, by the way?
Absolutely superb. I thought, well, why not just stay here and do some more?
Well, there you are. Well, if you've got a challenge for Ken, then you can write to us at About Anglia, Anglia Television, Norwich, NR1 3JG, and mark your envelope Ken's Challenge. Thanks, Ken. See you next week.
See you next week.
Well, now, if you were around in the 70s and 80s, then I'm sure you'll remember songs like When You're in Love with a Beautiful Woman, Sexy Eyes, and Sylvia's Mother, just a few. Well, they were all hits for a band called Dr. Hook. And joining us now is Dennis Le Corriere, who was the voice of Dr. Hook and has just arrived in this country to begin a new tour. Hello, welcome.
How are you?
Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
I remember you, of course, those years ago, and you don't look any different at all.
Well, okay. I'll accept that.
You can say the same about me.
I won't tell you where things have changed. I'll just leave it there. Yes.
Now, I was amazed actually that it was 1985 that the band split up.
Yeah.
That long ago.
That was our farewell
So
tour.
after that, you had a bit of a break, didn't you?
Yes, I went to. I'm the only guy you'll ever meet that moved to Nashville, Tennessee, to get out of the music business, and I stayed. You know, Nashville was nice because I could keep my hand in without actually having to go back on the road. I did some background singing and a lot of writing, and now I'm kind of ready to do this. And with this Love Songs album that's just come out on EMI, I'm singing 17 of the old songs, the original records, and 3 new songs it's Dennis Le Corriere, the voice of Dr. Hook.
Well, I'm very happy to sit next to you because I've done a bit of singing myself, so you don't mind if I join in, do you?
No, I need all the help I can get, please.
So,
you have?
yeah, I mean...
Well, there's your credentials right there.
Okay, we're going to hear from you in a moment.
I've sung near Des O'Connor.
Oh dear. Well, just before we hear from Dennis, a few words about Tuesdays About Anglia, when we'll be cooking up a vegetarian feast and finding out about the attractions and pitfalls of being a vegetarian, and meeting our resident vet, Tim Rowe, to find out what animals can be house-trained. You'll be surprised. All that and more next Tuesday at 5:25, so I hope you can join us then. But for now, we'll leave you with Dennis Le Corriere and If Not You.
Thanks.
Who's gonna water my plants? Who's gonna patch my pants? And who's gonna give me the chance to feel brand new? Who's gonna iron my shirts? And who's gonna kiss where it hurts? Who needs a man when he flirts the way I do? Ooh, if not you. Who's gonna wake me on time? Who'll smile and say I look fine? And who's gonna stay on my mind the whole day through?
For copies of the About Anglia fact sheets, just call 0891 900 222. Further details are on Anglia Teletext page 613.
When Nick and Joe left Aidensfield for Canada, they lived happily ever after.
So this is my new patch. About the size of North Yorkshire, really.
Or so we all thought.
Just like home, really.
Now, in a feature-length Heartbeat special, never seen before on television, they're in for more than just a culture shock. Heartbeat, Changing Places, Sunday at 8:20 ITV.
As the 21st century approaches, there's one thing we know for certain. People are living longer. Many senior citizens are embracing their retirement by staying fit and active. But what are the implications for work and health for tomorrow's older generation? Taking on a longer life, Tuesday at 7:30 on Anglia.
We're getting ready to bring you tonight's Anglia News, all the day's news from Essex, Suffolk and Norfolk.
Including why Sir Paul McCartney's pledging £3 million to keep GM products out of a Norfolk food factory.
And the Battle of Hastings comes to Suffolk. Join us in a couple of minutes.
Good evening. It's hardly been a good start to June. Cool and cloudy was the best we could say about today's weather, but things are looking up a bit for next week. Here's the cloud spinning around the North Sea at the moment. It closes in on the east coast from time to time, and some of that cloud has been thick enough for a little rain on the northern coast of Norfolk, but there were some sunnier spells around too. Here's our culprit. It's low pressure over Scandinavia. Not moving very far, so the high pressure way out west is not making very much progress either. And we've got very little change over the next few hours. The cloud once again creeping onto the eastern counties tomorrow from time to time. And much of today's cloud will evaporate after dark to leave a dry night with patchy cloud and clear spells in the main. However, thicker cloud is likely to hang on in this corner of the region with the possibility of a few spots of rain. Now, where the skies do clear, temperatures will fall quickly down to around 6 or 7 degrees, perhaps staying off a little bit around the coast. 8 degrees is 46 Fahrenheit. Tomorrow will start off quite like today with broken cloud and sunny spells in most areas. Again, though, it's the eastern locations with the thicker cloud, perhaps once again those spots of rain at times. And then it's mainly dry in the afternoon with sunny spells for most. Still the risk of rain over here, though. The best of the sunshine, there will be temperatures getting up to 18 or maybe 19 degrees, the mid-60s Fahrenheit, but it will be cooler on the east coast. The winds will remain light or gentle and north to northwesterly. So what about the weekend? Well, it's not looking like a pretty picture, is it? It'll be fairly cloudy, some brighter spells around in the west at first, but that will soon cloud over. And we will have showers in the north and the east of the region. They'll be reaching the southeast by the evening. Again, we could get up to 18 or 19 degrees. But we have higher hopes for Sunday. Pressure is building from the southwest, and that will bring a fine, dry day. There'll be a mixture of broken cloud and sunny spells, but still more cloud is likely in the east of the region. Monday should be dry with patchy cloud and sunny spells, the cloud bubbling up through the afternoon. It may cause the odd shower at times, and it's the same again for Tuesday. Plenty of sunshine in between the patchy cloud, and you'll see the temperatures are rising up a bit as well. 21 degrees is 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's more of what we expect of June. Here's tonight's summary. It's going to be mostly dry tonight, and then tomorrow warm with sunny spells inland, and the outlook for Saturday cloudy and damp, but becoming settled.
Anglia and Sun Life, helping you plan for tomorrow.
Anglia News at 6, tonight with Claire Weller and Greg Milam.
Tonight, heading for a showdown, angry farmers blockade the region's biggest port.
Sir Paul's fight against GM food and how a Norfolk town's at the centre of his campaign.
And a fly-past fit for the Queen. The pilot's preparing for a special date at Buckingham Palace.
Hello from Claire and me. Welcome to Thursday's Anglia News.
First tonight, Sir Paul McCartney is using a factory in Norfolk to spearhead a new campaign against genetically modified foods. £3 million has been spent on the factory to guarantee that vegetarian meals produced at the Linda McCartney food factory in Fakenham contain no trace of GM products. Sarah Doyle reports on Sir Paul's decision to enter the debate about how much science should influence nature.
Sir Paul McCartney's chosen one of London's top hotels to launch what will be his direct attack on GM foods.
He was here to launch a new range of Linda McCartney vegetarian meals that are guaranteed to be 100% GM-free. And Sir Paul wasn't in the mood for mincing words. He says he thinks Tony Blair's been too quick to support genetically modified foods.
I think he's wrong, because I don't think there is enough evidence about any problems that might arise through GM. And I don't think people are worrying unnecessarily. The last time they bought into an idea like that was the BSE. And, you know, people did swallow that one, literally.
Downing Street responded by saying we should not close our minds to the benefits of new technology. The Linda McCartney range is produced at this factory in Fakenham, but earlier this year traces of genetically modified soya was found in some of the products. Sir Paul ordered an immediate investigation. Now the company spent £3 million on ensuring it's GM-free. Soya is out, substituted by wheat, a crop that right now can't be genetically modified. The factory was closed for 3 days for cleaning. Every area steamed under pressurised jets to avoid any GM contamination. Now the meals made there will also be carrying a campaigning message. On the streets of Fakenham today, there was backing for Sir Paul.
I think he's quite right. I don't think sufficient testing has so far been done. And I think the Americans particularly have leapt ahead with 79 million acres, is it, of crops. No testing has been done on that. They've just gone in on purely commercial grounds, in my opinion.
You can't mess with it. It's like you can't mess around with nature. You can't do it. Like it's nature's way of providing food for us and growing crops and whatnot. I mean, if you want to get more in depth into it, go into cloning. That's just blatantly taking the mick.
It's not natural. I mean, I grow things in my garden. I put no sprays on, so I'm organic, but that's just a natural way to eat.
The decision to cut soya from the Linda McCartney range is another clear indication of the growing public concern over GM foods. But Sir Paul denies that the company is profiting from panic. Sarah Doyle, Anglia News, Central London.
A man's appeared in court today charged with the murder of 2 people at Westcliff-on-Sea in Essex. The bodies of 24-year-old Jane Phipps and 28-year-old Stephen Keyes were found in a ground floor flat between Ramuse Drive and Beadle Avenue on Tuesday. They died from stab wounds. 29-year-old Jason Prentice of Ronald Park Avenue in Southend was remanded in custody by Southend magistrates.
The threat of a strike at Stansted Airport has moved a step closer after the breakdown of pay talks this afternoon. The dispute involves staff working for Service Air, one of the companies responsible for check-ins and baggage handling. They've rejected a pay offer of 2.4% and have already informally voted in favour of a strike. This afternoon, talks between management and union officials ended with no agreement.
Pig farmers from across the region are tonight blockading the port of Felixstowe. Over 200 have brought the docks and traffic to a halt. Lorries can't move in or out of the port, and in the last few minutes there have been reports of angry scenes as farmers and lorry drivers have clashed. The farmers are protesting as they say cheap imports are forcing them out of business. Lindsay Brooke reports.
The blockade of Felixstowe docks began at just after 4 o'clock this afternoon. Pig producers from Suffolk, Norfolk and Cambridgeshire joined the demonstration to highlight the plight of their industry and their concerns over cheap imported meat.
What you're going to see is us saying to the Minister of Agriculture, Minister, we need to have properly audited trails on all of the product that comes into this country. If you don't have those audit trails, we are going to say to you, take that product off the shelves. We give you 1 week to do that. At the end of that, we're going to demand your resignation.
Well over 200 men, women and children stopped lorries going in and out of the port, causing traffic chaos on the roads around the docks.
We're fed up with the way that pig farmers are being treated in this country. The government just takes no notice of us.
Just drawing attention to the plight of the pig industry and food safety in general.
It's our livelihood, it's a lot of people's livelihood, and it's disgusting.
They say only food produced to UK standards with proper traceability guarantees safety.
Well, to the port. I've got no Belgian food in the trailer, nor is anybody else coming into the port.
Eat British is my opinion. Stop the Europeans coming in, they stopped British beef going out, didn't they?
Tonight, the government said it's aware of the difficulties facing the pig industry and is doing all it can to support British pig farmers. Agriculture Minister Nick Brown helped to launch the British quality standards for pig meat and has actively encouraged consumers, retailers and caterers to buy pig meat that meets British quality and welfare standards. For over half an hour, lorries were brought to a standstill. Finally, cars were allowed through the blockade and lorries were allowed in. Lindsay Brooke, Anglia News, Felixstowe.
Well, Lindsay joins us now from our Suffolk News Centre. So, Lindsay, what's the latest?
Well, as I understand it, the mood has changed significantly. When we were there about 2 hours ago, an hour and a half ago, it was a pretty sort of relaxed atmosphere. They just wanted to make their point and leave. But it seems now the situation has changed. As I understand it, lorries are being allowed into the port. Lorries are being stopped from coming out. And the latest that I've heard, reports from down at Felixstowe docks, is that now that lorry drivers are stopping cars, workers leaving the docks tonight. So the situation has changed significantly.
And how long is it likely to go on?
Well, this is another question because really we don't know. They really didn't intend to stay there all that long, as I understood it. The mood has changed. Ian Campbell, who's organised this event, he really didn't think it would last this long, but who knows how long it will go on for.
The situation's obviously developing. Lindsay, thank you.
One of the victims of the Soho pub bomb has been remembered at a service in her former school at Colchester. Family and friends gathered to celebrate the life of Andrea Dykes. As Timothy Evans reports, she'll be remembered as the girl with a smile.
Her family were there to celebrate her life. So too were her friends, with happy memories of school days together.
I can remember she was fun, a laugh. Used to get up to all kinds of things at school, really.
She was just a very popular person. She'd be sadly missed, I think. Very sadly missed.
They gathered in the school hall at St Benedict's College in Colchester for a commemorative service. It's more than a month since Andrea Dykes died in the Soho pub bomb. The priest highlighted her loyalty to family and friends.
I know how much life cannot be the same again without her. But having said that, Andrea's life, her 27 years, had a rich quality, a life that is clearly an example, maybe an inspiration to many of us.
There were hymns, readings and a psalm sung by current pupils at the Catholic secondary school. Andrea Dykes' family said later it was a comfort to know that so many people recalled her with affection.
Yes, it was, yeah, and that people care so much to come and pay tribute to her. I think it's fantastic, yeah.
Andrea's husband Julian, who was injured in the bomb attack, has now left hospital. Following the service, her friends studied school pictures. Andrea left St Benedict's in 1988. The tragedy has touched the wider school community. One woman here said she simply knew Andrea as the girl who always had a smile on her face. Timothy Evans, Anglia News, Colchester.
Pilots from RAF Coltishall in Norfolk are preparing to fly in formation over London at the weekend to mark the Queen's birthday.
Today they've been putting the finishing touches to their display. James Bush has been watching the rehearsals for the Royal Birthday Flypast.
Jaguar warplanes take to the skies at RAF Coltishall. 16 of the aircraft will form the flypast over Buckingham Palace on Saturday.
It's all a question of planning to start with, and then using the skills that the pilots practice daily on a much smaller scale to actually maintain the formation that we need to fly over the palace on the time. It will be an interesting and challenging event, but nevertheless it is using standard skills and training that the pilots have during their normal working days.
Normally the RAF provides a variety of different aircraft for the Royal Flypast. This year, because of operational commitments in the Balkans and elsewhere, the honour falls solely to aircraft from Coltishall.
The 16 Jaguars involved in the flypast will form up over the North Sea. They'll be joined by 2 Whipper-in aircraft. They'll help the pilots find their exact positions.
Today's rehearsal saw the aircraft flying over Coltishall and then wittering in Cambridgeshire, where military top brass were on hand to assess the formation flying. On Saturday, once they're in formation, they'll pass near Southwold, Colchester and Chelmsford on their way to the capital. Weather permitting, they're due to fly over the palace at 1 o'clock. James Bush, Anglia News, Coltishall.
Should be a good day.
Yeah, should be. You're watching Anglia News. It's coming up to 14 minutes past 6. Plenty still to come tonight.
Yes, including the latest moves to try and stop the excavation of Sea Henge on the North Norfolk coast.
And snapping away, but what's the local attraction proving so popular for these American tourists?
Find out after the break.
Hai mai sentito un telefonino che suona un pezzo orientale? Beh, io ne ho fatto uno per il C25.
Small, light, smart. The new Siemens C25. Get it? Be inspired.
We saved a fortune on the bedroom and got a second bedroom half price.
I was bowled over.
You'll love the change at the MFI Homework sale now.
Yeah?
Dave, the match.
What?
The match, Dave, come on.
Oh, no.
Great.
Yeah? I'm ready, mate.
Because Vodafone is giving away up to 50% more free minutes to new and existing digital account customers on its most popular tariffs, You now needn't worry about how often you call even your closest friends. So whatever the call, the word is Vodafone.
Welcome back. Legal action to stop the Seahenge monument being dug up by archaeologists moved a step closer today.
A Norfolk businessman says he will fund an appeal aimed at keeping the monument in Norfolk. Malcolm Robertson reports.
Archaeologists continue to excavate wooden posts from the Bronze Age Seahenge site at Holme next to the sea in West Norfolk. But not everyone's pleased with the decision to dig up the timbers, which English Heritage says is essential if they're to be saved from destruction by the sea. Forest druid and didgeridoo player Buster Nolan's convinced they should remain where they are. Now he's received the backing of businessman Mervyn Lambert, who runs a plant hire firm at Garboldersham near Thetford. He's offered £2,000 to fund legal action to prevent the circle's removal.
It's like moving the stones from Stonehenge, taking the sculptures away from Ascension Island. They are part of what they are because of where they are. Once you move it away from the sea, from where it is, all it becomes is 57 pieces of wood. It's got to be left there.
The archaeologists may now be asked to halt their dig while lawyers apply for a judicial review of the excavation. 11 posts have already been removed for conservation at Flag Fen Bronze Age site near Peterborough. They'll later be returned to Norfolk. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News.
Voting has been slow across the region in today's European elections. For the first time, MEPs are being elected under a system of proportional representation. This was one of the polling stations today. Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex are included in one large constituency, which also includes Cambridgeshire, Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire. It will return 8 MEPs after the votes are counted on Sunday night. And our political editor, Graham Donaldson, joins us from the newsroom now. Graham, everyone had expected a low turnout, but why has voting been so slow?
Well, of course, we don't know that turnout is low, and we won't know that until after the polls close later tonight. But you're quite right, Claire, it does look rather bad. In fact, I heard today of one polling station where they were playing Scrabble because they were so bored. I think people in our part of the world feel physically remote from Europe. We're not part of the continental mainland, and that keeps us away from it. Also, everything nowadays is so big. You know, we can't, the constituencies are so big that you almost feel, well, why should I vote? My vote doesn't count. That, of course, is wrong.
So if it's as bad as we think, what are the implications for Britain?
Well, it's not good news for the MEPs who end up, representing our region. Turnout could be as low as 20% in our part of the world. If that's the case, and you compare that to the French or Germans or 60 and 70%, then you can understand why they might not take our people seriously. And that is not good news. But of course, it's not too late. The booths don't close till 10. So if you haven't done so already, get out and vote.
OK, thanks, Graham.
Time now for more of the region's news as we go county by county. First to Colchester, where 200 soldiers are preparing to leave the town following the signing of the Kosovan peace agreement. The men have been on standby for 3 weeks, but will soon be off to Macedonia to join 11,000 British troops preparing to enforce the newly signed peace deal. The Colchester group will be known as the Imjan Company, recalling the regiment's last frontline action in Korea in the 50s. Now we head for the waterfront at Southwold. The town is celebrating its maritime connections with a 3-day rally featuring fishing smacks and classic craft. Among more than 40 boats was the last of the lowest off smacks, the Albert Edward, and the Nancy Blackett, which was owned by children's author Arthur Ransom. Many of the vintage boats took part in the Sole Bay race, sailing towards Dunwich Bay. Finally to Fakenham, where improvements to the town centre are almost complete. Paths on Norwich Street and Bridge Street are now much wider, while the road width has been reduced. From next week, barriers that are normally used to stop traffic on market days won't be used. Drivers are being asked to take extra care when the barriers come down. Now for tonight's school report, and we go back in time with the children of Great Chesterford Primary School in Saffron Walden.
Please. 4 and 3, Arthur at the back. Who knows the answer to 7?
The school celebrated its 150th anniversary by looking back at how it's changed over the years. Each class chose a 20-year time span. They dressed in the costume of the time and were taught in the style of that period. Games showed that some things in the playground just don't change over the years, and for future generations, the Bishop of Colchester dedicated a special mural marking the anniversary.
Now, I'm sure you've noticed that Helen is not with us tonight, and there's a very good reason for that, because she's probably putting her feet up and enjoying a well-deserved rest. Today, Helen has joined 800 other competitors near Pakefield in Suffolk for the start of one of Britain's most difficult endurance events, the Securicorps Challengers Trophy.
After completing several London marathons, Helen McDermott has no trouble at all leading her team in the warm-up for this country's second biggest corporate charity fundraiser at Kessingland near Lowestoft.
Lift yourself tall and proud, fine body of people.
Captain of the celebrity team, though, is Gavin Hastings, the former Scotland and British Lions rugby international, fostering team building by delegating the map reading. And the motto is, if you can't read a map, ask.
Which way do I go then? Go up that way, yeah? And when? Where after that?
First up, the puzzles, which left most teams totally befuddled. But there's more joy on the pistol firing range.
Most of the teams are having a lot of fun. There's a few serious ones, though, and we're not speaking to them.
Well, I thought you were serious, actually. I was getting a bit worried at one point.
Oh, I'm a very serious person, as you can probably tell. But no, we're here, first of all, to, you know, just have a lot of fun and hopefully raise a lot of money for NCH, Action for Children.
And that money for the NCH Action for Children charity will total over £500,000.
The money will be spread throughout all our projects, ranging from our family centres through to our respite care, through to our disability centres. So everyone will benefit from this, and it really will make a vital difference to the lives of those people that we're trying to help.
And when it came to the climbing, some people definitely needed help. No, not Gavin Hastings, making a speedy descent after reaching the top.
Right, that's 3 done, 1 more to go.
No prizes for guessing who was the lucky last, but after an early slip, our Helen made it above halfway.
I think I've probably done enough now. Can I come down? Yeah.
It's by no means over, though. There's 2 more days of mind-boggling puzzles, practical work including plumbing, more tests of physical dexterity, and one of the things Helen finds most difficult, riding a bike.
Didn't see Helen on the bike there.
No.
I wonder if we will see her on a bike.
I was supposed to be there, actually, so I can't talk. I didn't make it, but we'll explain why now.
We will, yes.
We will.
Every year, thousands of British holidaymakers head to Disneyland. But if you lived in the United States, would you come all the way to Norfolk just to go to the fun fair?
Well, today I met 95 people who've done just that. Members of the American National Carousel Association have travelled halfway around the world to ride on old-fashioned fairground horses, and I caught up with them at Bressingham in Norfolk. Most of us love all the fun of the fair, but few are as obsessed as this group of enthusiasts. They've travelled all the way from the United States just to ride on British carousels, and their first stop was Bressingham Steam Museum in Norfolk.
I'm from Michigan, and I'm definitely glad that I'm here.
Why come all this way? Because it's fun. It brings you back to some of your childhood. We had a good time.
It was fantastic. Loved it. Very nice.
Was it worth coming all this way for?
Oh, yes. Yes. I'd come back again.
So what makes this carousel so special? Well, it's steam-driven for one thing, and the other major selling point, it goes in the opposite direction to its American equivalent.
We actually invented the Gallopers ride. This ride was bought new in 1900 by Henry Thurston, and it was his grandfather, William Thurston, who actually invented the overhead crank mechanism, which all of these Gallopers rides are based on. So there's very much an East Anglian connection with the Gallopers ride.
Being steam-powered, it's different than most of the ones we have in the United States, so that's really different.
And of course it goes the other way.
That's true. Well, you don't really notice it. You don't think about it once you get on.
But what do you say to the people who say that you're slightly mad?
That we've got mad? Yeah, we agree.
With some of the biggest theme parks in the world back home, were the younger members of the group just a little nonplussed by this gentler form of fun? Not a bit.
Well, it's not as exciting, but when you ride it and when you understand how beautiful it all is, it really is much better than all those other ones.
The group will be moving on to visit other sites around the county tomorrow, but today, time for another taste of nostalgia, Bressingham style.
Did you enjoy your ride there?
Well, I did, except for when the cameraman and I had to travel backwards to do those interviews. It makes me feel a bit sick, I have to say.
Yeah. Time for the headlines now. And pig producers from Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex have been blockading Felixstowe docks. They're angry over cheap imported meat from the continent. They marched on the docks, bringing cars and lorries to a standstill. Sir Paul McCartney says he thinks the Prime Minister is wrong to support genetically modified food. £3 million has been spent at the factory in Fakenham, which produces the Linda McCartney range, to ensure there's no trace of GM foods. A man's appeared in court today charged with the murder of 2 people at Westcliff-on-Sea in Essex. Jane Phipps and Stephen Keyes were found in a ground floor flat on Tuesday. Jason Prentice has been remanded in custody. Pilots from RAF Coltishall have today been practicing their formation display, which will mark the Queen's birthday. They'll fly over London at the weekend.
Time for tonight's weather now. Here's David Hughes.
Thanks. It's felt more like April today in some places rather than June, and this cloudy weather, well, it's going to stick around for the next couple of days, but there will be a few sunny spells as well. If we look at tonight's chart, it's going to be mainly dry across the Anglia region tonight. Just the northeast corner may get a few spits and spots of rain. And then tomorrow, sunny spells in the west, but again, a bit more cloud around in the east with the possibility of some rain near the northeast coast. 18 Celsius or 64 Fahrenheit is a typical top temperature, and that will be in the sunnier spots. And Saturday, sunny spells and showers, that rain spreading from north to south. And for Sunday, though, we are hoping for a little bit of some better weather. That's it. Back to you in the warm studio.
Thank you, David.
He always looks so upset, doesn't he? We can't blame him, really. He's always sent out in the rain.
He gets the benefit when it's sunny, though,
Well, he
doesn't he?
keeps promising us a bit better weather, but we haven't seen much of it yet. Come on, David. Now.
Just a word now about tomorrow's Anglia News to stop us moaning.
We'll be finding out about life in the slow lane, how Turbo the tortoise went walkabout on a main road and lived to tell the tale. That's an Anglia News tomorrow, so join us at 6 for that. But before we go tonight, a couple of important anniversaries.
Yes, it's time to celebrate some diamond weddings.
Our best wishes go to Gladys and Frederick Jarrett from Harlow in Essex.
And to Harry and Dolly Watson of Caister-on-Sea near Great Yarmouth in Norfolk.
And if you're celebrating an anniversary or birthday today, congratulations to you too.
Yes, and just a way of enjoying your television even more is that you can get exercise, but we'll tell you all about that tomorrow.
Yes, we will. That's it from us for tonight. Join us 6 o'clock tomorrow. Till then, good night.
Good night.
It's back. The Road Show. With the lowdowns on the wheels that matter. With Tim Harvey and Lizzie Knight.
Like a test drive, Tim.
The Road Show, Tuesday at 10:30.
The MFI homework sale's now on. I can't believe we changed the kitchen so much.
And spent so little. We got a great deal on the Hygiena cabinets and a free dishwasher.
So does that mean you like it?
No, I love it.
You'll love the change at the MFI homework sale now.
I'm really dreading tonight, do you know that? I could do with staying in front of the telly. Every single bloke she ever goes out with, it's ridiculous. It's like she can't even trust her own instincts. I go through this with her every single time. I'm going to be late. Shall I leave my shirt in there? Gav? Am I talking to myself? Hello, am I talking to myself? Oh, Thomas.
Oh, Thomas? Yeah, all very well doing that, mate. Ruined the shirt. Marvellous.
Bachelor's super duper whooper noodles.
I need a senior officer. I'm supposed to be on holiday.
A case he never wanted.
We've got a missing boy out there.
A decision he can't afford to get wrong.
We get it right and we'll catch this blackmailer. Everything's got to be 100%. You blew it.
Now a deadly chase for the truth has begun.
He's playing with us. We're being pilloried. Very ruthless man, this kidnapper.
As Frost met his match at last.
I have no idea.
A race against time in A Touch of Frost. Tonight at 8 on ITV.
You're watching Anglia, and the time now is exactly 6:30.
From ITN, the ITV Evening News with Dermot Murnahan.
It's 6:30 on Thursday evening. The headlines. Serbs leave Kosovo, but Blair says, "I feel no triumph." British troops spearheading the peacekeeping force. Celebrations in Belgrade after 79 days of bombing. And interest rates cut, what it means for homeowners. Good evening. The Kosovo peace deal that was finally agreed last night rapidly began to take shape on the ground today. Trucks carrying thousands of Serb soldiers and military equipment were seen heading out of Kosovo, and NATO suspended its bombing campaign 79 days after it began, saying it was satisfied that the full withdrawal of Serb forces had begun. President Clinton described it as a moment of hope. Tony Blair said he felt no sense of triumph, but said the world now knew that racial genocide could not go on without being challenged. Robert Moore reports.
There were a few defiant gestures and salutes, and some shouts and laughter from the retreating soldiers. But there is no disguising just how humiliating is their withdrawal from the province they have ravaged. From early this afternoon, convoys of Yugoslav soldiers were on the move. And within days, the Serbs will lose all control over Kosovo. It leaves the Yugoslav military to ponder the futility of the last 79 days, in which they absorbed NATO's bombardment before they were ordered to retreat. The pullout was sufficient for NATO's Secretary-General to make the dramatic statement that Western airstrikes on Yugoslavia have been suspended.
I can announce that today, that Milosevic has complied with the 5 conditions that the international community had placed. And therefore, a few moments ago, I instructed General Clark to suspend NATO's air operations against Yugoslavia.
As he made that announcement, so NATO reinforcements were building up in the southern Balkans, preparing for a peacekeeping mission of immense complexity. US Marines were coming ashore in northern Greece before heading up into Macedonia. Crucially now, whatever the perils of their entry into Kosovo, it would seem they will not have to fight their way past organized Serb resistance. At the White House, President Clinton said coming to the rescue of the Kosovar Albanians was a triumph for the international community.
The Kosovars have been victims of terrible atrocities. Their only hope was that the world would not turn away in the face of ethnic cleansing and killing, that the world would take a stand. We did for 78 days. Because we did, the Kosovars will go home.
At the United Nations, the Security Council has, in the last 30 minutes, passed the resolution that authorizes the NATO-led force to enter Kosovo. It provides the UN mandate for the safe return of the refugees and the rebuilding of the province. Only China abstained. In Downing Street, the Prime Minister said the air war had been necessary and justified.
We end it with no sense of rejoicing. We cannot rest until the refugees are home. But then, truly, we will be able to say that good has triumphed over evil, justice has overcome barbarism, and the values of civilization have prevailed.
This evening, Western leaders are trying hard not to sound too triumphalist, stressing this was a war fought not for territory, but for humanitarian reasons. And the sense of victory is also tempered by the scale of the task that still lies ahead. Robert Moore, ITN, Downing Street.
As he announced the halt to the bombing, the NATO Secretary-General said that if everything goes smoothly, Allied troops could enter Kosovo tomorrow. Today, reinforcements moved up to the border inside Macedonia. ITN's Mark Austin has been watching the build-up.
This evening, the elite infantry of the British Army is on the move. For NATO's forces here, the waiting is finally over. Throughout the day, a fleet of Chinook and Puma helicopters ferried hundreds of paratroopers to forward assembly areas, where they are now poised to move as soon as the order comes. These are the soldiers who will almost certainly be the first across the border, airlifted to secure the strategic high ground overlooking the main road to Kosovo's capital, Pristina. where they hope the British headquarters in Kosovo can be established within days.
These troops are just being moved within Macedonia, but in effect, the airlift to Kosovo has begun.
And for these men, the orders to enter the province may now only be hours away.
I don't think any of the lads here are that worried about the potential for anything to go wrong, because we're trained and we know what we've got to do. We're just going to get on with it.
What any soldier's career trains for war or whatever comes. As paratroopers, we're ready for anything.
And they are preparing for anything. The heavy armour is also on the move tonight. NATO is determined to avoid a dangerous vacuum in Kosovo as the Serbs pull out. The commander of British forces insists his soldiers will be impartial, dealing even-handedly with both the KLA and Yugoslav troops or militias still to withdraw.
British forces will act decisively and robustly in an impartial way. They're quite clear as to what they have to do. They're fully trained, equipped and manned to get on with it. I know their morale is very high, and whatever is asked of them, as you would expect, they will do, I believe, extremely well.
We filmed one Chinook today throwing out decoy flares, practicing its defence against ground attack. We remain vulnerable, said the pilot. It only takes one angry Serb with a shoulder-launched missile. And the Americans are arriving in force. 2,000 Marines reached Macedonia today, and coming with them, the Apache gunship helicopters, withheld in war, now moving quickly forward in peace. They're here now to support NATO troops if things suddenly go wrong in Kosovo. And this evening on the Macedonian border with Kosovo, last-minute meetings were taking place to try and make sure things don't go wrong. NATO and Yugoslav military officers deciding how to synchronize the movement of their forces, swapping information on routes, locations and timings. In the hills on the Kosovo side of the border, there was a defiant farewell from one group of Yugoslav soldiers. But also, ominously, what appeared to be homes burning. There are reports of widespread looting by the retreating Serbs. Tonight, NATO's military delegation at the border declared themselves broadly satisfied with the talks. It's possible the first NATO troops may be in Kosovo by dawn tomorrow. Mark Austin, ITN, on the Macedonia-Kosovo border.
And our correspondent James Mates is in Macedonia. James, we know the troop deployment is imminent. What information do you have about exactly when it may start?
No, they're not saying precisely yet. All we do know is that the media who are going in with the first units have been told to be with their units by later this evening, ready to go at any moment. So Mark says before dawn tomorrow. That still seems to be absolutely right. All the elements are in place. They have the UN resolution now. They've had the talks between the local Serb commanders and NATO commanders to coordinate things. There's been the end of the bombing, so everything is in place. Those troops you saw there in Mark's report are up here on the border, absolutely poised to go, probably just a matter of hours. And of course, British Paras and Gurkhas slotted to be among the very first to go in.
And of course, the Serb troops may well be leaving, but clearly it's not going to be an easy task.
Not easy at all, and not necessarily particularly safe either. You must remember that for 11 weeks now, the Serbs have been preparing to resist an invasion of Kosovo. There will therefore be many minefields, booby traps, other fortifications, plus, of course, after an 11-week bombing campaign, there are bound to be a lot of unexploded NATO munitions. Now, that's the environment in which they've got to move in 50,000 NATO troops, and that's just the first stage, because after that, hundreds of thousands of refugees must be brought back there. They have no houses, they have no food, they have no livestock. It's going to be an enormous operation.
James, thanks a lot. So what will happen when NATO troops actually cross the Kosovo border, and how will they make it safe enough for refugees to return? For this evening news briefing, our foreign news correspondent Paul Davis has been looking at the military mission ahead.
In fact, the peacekeepers' mission is already underway. For weeks now, NATO drones, unmanned rockets and planes carrying sophisticated cameras have been flying over Kosovo, bringing back pictures of roads and hazards, so the route into the province has already been drawn up. The first troops into Kosovo are expected to be British paratroopers and Gurkhas, taken in by helicopter. These are highly trained troops, but they're lightly armed and could be vulnerable to attack. Some could fly into the north of Kosovo, occupying the first areas vacated by the Serbs. Their key task will be the first 12 hours of KFOR's move into Kosovo, securing mountains along the crucial road from Macedonia. During the next 2 days, the main force, spearheaded by British tanks, will move in. Engineers will have to defuse any mines on the 11 bridges and tunnels on this road. After day 3, NATO battle groups are expected to fan out into key areas. By day 11, with all Serb forces out of Kosovo, the KFOR headquarters should be established in Pristina. Military analysts say it's in the early stages of the operation that British troops will be most at risk.
The light forces are very vulnerable, not only to mines and booby traps, but also by renegade Serb forces that may decide not to listen to their higher command, and indeed, of course, from Serbian civilians who are just eager to defend their village from what they probably regard as an aggressive foreign power that has been bombing them.
From the Ministry of Defence today, there was an acknowledgement of the dangers British troops would be facing over the coming weeks. The Defence Secretary said on top of all the other risks, they'd be entering areas where sickening atrocities had only recently been committed.
For General Jackson and his forces, the difficult days are just beginning. As they move into Kosovo, they'll find hazards and horrors which nobody should have to face.
The last time British ground forces were involved in such a large-scale deployment in potentially hostile territory was just 3 years ago, with a similarly hazardous journey into Bosnia. Paul Davis, ITN.
President Milosevic made an unexpected appearance on Serbian television today. He said that Yugoslavia had not surrendered to NATO and claimed that the integrity of Kosovo was still guaranteed. As our correspondent Julian Mannion reports from Belgrade, news of last night's peace deal was met with some celebrations.
In the centre of Belgrade, a few hundred people celebrated what most now believe is the end of the war. They tooted car horns, set off flares, and in a brief display of bitterness, burned a British Union flag. State television has been telling them that they have won a famous victory, which will guarantee the pride and the unity of the country. And that theme was taken up by President Milosevic in a rare address to the nation. Milosevic declared that Yugoslavia has not surrendered Kosovo because the country's territorial integrity is guaranteed by the peace agreement. The president also claimed that the army and police lost just 576 dead in the conflict and described them as heroes. The foreign ministry spokesman compared Serbia's soldiers to the knights of old.
Yugoslav military acted in a way of an honorable knight, fighting the mightiest alliance in the world and achieving great moral victory.
But Serbs are now becoming aware that their forces will have to leave Kosovo. And in the streets, I found many people reserved and doubtful about what is increasingly seen as defeat.
Kosovo is going to be lost. Yeah, that's my opinion.
And can you accept that Kosovo should be lost?
No, I don't, because I cannot understand how can you take part of any country.
But others are simply pleased that the war appears to be over.
Yes, I am very happy. It stopped to destroy our country and kill our people, Albanians too.
Many ordinary people are relieved by what has happened, but the feelings of anger inside the Yugoslav Army's officer corps are now plain to see. One leading general has now declared that Serbia will not stand by and watch what he called renewed repression of the Kosovo Serbs. And an important question is whether those feelings of bitterness will subside, or if they do not, how they will be expressed. Julian Mannion, ITN, Belgrade.
Belgrade's reaction to the peace deal. Stay with us for more of the day's top stories and the latest on the end of the crisis in Kosovo. We'll be hearing from the Prime Minister live from Downing Street. Despite the peace, the pain goes on for the Kosovo refugees. And another interest rate cut, but is the party over for homeowners? All that when we come back.
Gentlemen, let's test the grip of our hand-cooked tires. Up to any challenge, hand-cooked tires.
Hello? Hi, Billy. Mummy,
your bedtime story, don't you?
One rate from BT Cellnet is the only flat rate tariff in Europe. The cost of your calls doesn't change from country to country, so you always know what you're paying. You never know. It might change your life. One rate from BT Cellnet. Good call.
I'm the window man, and I've decided to extend the millennium offer from Safe Style UK. You know the one. You buy one, you get one free. I said you buy one, you get one free. Right now, for every single window door that you buy, I'll give you another one absolutely free. You can even buy now and pay next century. Plus, 0% interest-free credit is also available. And to celebrate the millennium, I'll give you free fitting. Trust me, it's free fitting. So call 0800 106 107. I said 0800 106 107 now.
Welcome back. Tonight's ITV Evening News headlines. NATO has suspended its bombing campaign after Serb troops began pulling out of Kosovo. The United Nations has formally given the go-ahead for international troops to enter the province. NATO has said that could happen tomorrow. And staying with Kosovo, we can go over now to Downing Street, where our political editor, Michael Brunson, is with the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister, we've heard within the past hour about this clear UN vote, 14-0 with China abstaining. At least you have now got one opinion behind this force going in.
It's excellent news. It shows the international community is united, and it also shows that they've authorized us to use the means necessary to make sure that their will is done.
And yet the worries remain, don't they? Here, this very evening, we've got President Milosevic boasting almost that Kosovo is still his, part of Yugoslavia. The ethnic cleansing will now stop, of course it will, but leaving a terrible legacy. But how do you make certain this man doesn't do something mad like this in the future?
By retaining the force necessary to make sure that he can't do it again. And of course he's going to say these things to the Serbian people, though I think they know that he has devastated and ruined their country for an agreement he could have had 11 weeks ago. And after all, it's his forces that are going out of Kosovo and our forces that are going in.
You said retaining the forces. What do you mean there? Do you mean that airstrikes could resume at any moment, or do you mean that KFOR will have to be there for a very considerable time?
Well, I hope over time, as we settle the situation back down again and put in a proper civil administration, and with the full blessing now, as you say, of the international community, that we can reduce that commitment. But for the moment, we've got to make sure that the people are allowed to return to their homes and the situation is stabilized there.
So, in fact, public opinion in this country and indeed around the world ought to expect that British troops, American troops, other troops are going to have to be in there in Kosovo for quite some time. It isn't just a sort of quick in, sort the situation in and then rush out again.
No, it won't be quick, but on the other hand, we learned from Bosnia that if you don't make this commitment earlier, you make it later. And because we acted late in Bosnia, we ended up with, 3 million refugees, 1 million of them in the European Union and 250,000 people dead. So it is a commitment. I do ask people to make it, but it is in our long-term interest to make it.
Finally, very briefly, the Balkans has been a source of trouble throughout this century almost. How can it not be a source of trouble in future?
By offering a choice of the future to people in the Balkans, by saying that if they embrace the values of democracy and peace, then we can welcome them into the modern Europe, and we will offer them the chance to rebuild their economies and to reconstruct their countries to do so. That is one choice, and the other choice is a future based on ethnic conflict. And I am passionately committed now to making sure that we offer the Balkans that good future of peace and prosperity, and that will be in our own interests as well as theirs.
Prime Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you.
The Prime Minister talking live to Michael Brunson in Downing Street. The day's other news now. Interest rates were cut to their lowest rate for 22 years by the Bank of England today. They've gone down by 0.25% to 5%. But mortgage lenders made it clear that they won't be passing on the full reduction to borrowers so that they can protect returns for savers. Ros Charles reports.
The city was surprised by today's interest rate cut. Most people thought the Bank of England would wait until July before cutting again, if they cut at all. The main reason behind today's move is the recent strength of the pound. That strength has made it hard for manufacturers to compete abroad. Cutting rates should bring sterling down and help British business.
What we have to do is take every opportunity to get interest rates down as far as we possibly can to help ease the pressure on sterling and to help our manufacturers to do the best they can to compete in world markets and against cheap imports.
But economists say manufacturers have already benefited from previous rate cuts.
If you look at the more recent sort of forward-looking survey data, they clearly have been showing a reasonable pickup on the manufacturing side of the economy.
Rates haven't been this low since Jubilee year in 1977. Back then, beer cost 38 pence a pint, a loaf was 22p, and a house cost an average of £13,400. Present-day homeowners, though, are unlikely to feel the full benefit of lower mortgage rates from today's rate cut. Likewise, savers probably won't suffer lower rates on their accounts. Speculation is now growing that rates won't fall any further. So the question now is, when will they start going up again? If the economy continues to grow as it has been, then it's thought that rates will start moving up early next year, hitting 6.5% by summer 2000. Ross Childs, ITN, The City.
Lawyers for 17 British soldiers who were involved in the Bloody Sunday massacre launched a legal bid today to stop their names being made public at a new inquiry into the shootings. They say they could be targeted by terrorists if their names are made known. Voting is taking place today to elect MEPs who will represent Britain at the European Parliament. It's the first time proportional representation has been used in a nationwide election, and votes are being cast for parties rather than individual candidates. Now with details of what's on ITV's Tonight programme with Trevor McDonald. Here is Trevor in the Tonight studio.
Thank you, Dermot. Tonight, are Britain's supermarkets overcharging their customers? We'll be finding out why shoppers in Europe and America pay less. The dangers of the body-piercing craze. We talk to the doctors who want a change in the law to protect teenagers. We interview the father hauled before the courts for smacking his 8-year-old daughter. And we investigate the risks from creatine, the legal sports supplement used by athletes and Premiership footballers. That's tonight at 10. Now back to you, Dermot.
Thanks, Trevor. And to remind you, Tonight with Trevor McDonald is on ITV at 10 o'clock. We're ending the programme this evening by going back to Kosovo and the refugees who've been at the heart of the conflict. A return home does now look like a realistic possibility for them. But as Bill Neely reports, everything the refugees have been through and the prospect of what they will go back to means that there's been little celebration.
The 11-week war is over, but Kosovo's refugees aren't celebrating. The war was fought for them, but they don't feel like winners.
Many houses are burned, destroyed. Many people are dead. Nobody can celebrate this. You see, I just don't believe it. Maybe, God knows.
You don't believe the Serbs will pull out?
No, God knows.
They have lost their land, their homes, and many their loved ones, and they had almost lost hope that they might return.
With one part, I don't still believe. When I see myself in Kosovo, then I will believe.
Yatola Haziri was a teacher. He has no illusions. The life he had is gone.
I, with my family, will go back in Kosovo. And the life, I am sure that in the beginning it will be not same, because my house is burned. All I had in my house, it's gone.
The war is over, but the minds of the innocent are scarred, filled with terrible memories of the only place they ever called home. Teenagers here don't listen to pop music, but to news of the missing and dead. It's an obsession here, with so many families forced out so fast, split up and scattered. There may be peace today, but there's bitterness too. I don't want to see a single Serb alive in Kosovo, he says. They've killed 4 of my family. It's a bitterness that spans the generations. We won't give up an inch of Kosovo, they sing. We survived their massacres. We won't be victims again. And then they leave their songs and wash their toys, all they salvaged from home. Nearby, the gates to Kosovo are closed. Above them in the hills today, the steady sound of the machine guns and the snipers. Kosovo's rebels and the Serbs still slugging it out. From here, we can see down into Kosovo, and we can hear the Serb guns firing, but we can't see them moving, and there's no sign either of troops leaving. No refugee will dare cross this border until they do. And so they wait, improving their camp, checking their cars for the day that they can leave it. The day when 4-week-old Kosovare, born in exile in a tent, can go to the land she's named for and live in the peace that's promised today. Bill Neely, ITN, on the Kosovo-Albanian border.
And the developments in Kosovo are the main news tonight. NATO has suspended its bombing campaign after Serb troops began pulling out of the province. And that's it. I'll be back with the ITV Nightly News at 11, and Trevor McDonald will be here with the ITV Evening News tomorrow. We leave you now with the images of the day. From all of us here, good night.
I instructed General Clark to suspend NATO's air operations against Yugoslavia.
In effect, the airlift to Kosovo has begun.
Good evening. A fairly nondescript spell of weather just at the moment. Most places dry, rather cloudy. A few breaks in the cloud, though, offering some sunny glimpses for a number of places. Now, over the weekend, there will be a trend, but it'll be a trend in the wrong direction. More in the way of cloud, thickening up to bring a threat of quite a lot of rain to the north and the west come Sunday. But tonight, most of the rain is the light and patchy variety, just skimming down that eastern coast. Many places dry, if rather cloudy. Some clear gaps, though, especially across parts of western Scotland, northern England, down to some southern areas, and that will allow temperatures to dip quite sharply again. A few places getting down to 5 or 6, more typically, though, 7 or 8. Tomorrow, well, a lot of cloud again, especially in the east. That cloud tending to encroach with time. Some patchy rain getting into eastern areas and spreading a little bit further west during the course of the day. The best of the brightness further west across Northern Ireland, Wales and the West Country. Here it should stay dry, but the threat of showers elsewhere, especially the nearer the east coast you are. Temperature-wise, well, the wind's still coming down from the north, so not terribly warm anywhere. In the brighter spots, I can offer you 16 or 17, perhaps the odd 18 down towards the coast of South Devon, but more typically, I think, 14 or 15, and decidedly chilly in eastern parts of Scotland, perhaps no higher than 11 or 12 here. A quick look ahead now, and on Saturday, well, more of the same. A lot of cloud around, especially in the east. Some outbreaks of showery rain, the best of the dry and bright weather further west. Come Sunday, though, the floodgates open to some extent. Wet and windy weather spreading from the west, just the southeast remaining dry, but turning breezy everywhere. That's about it from me. I'll leave you with a summary.
Power, Jen. Power, whatever the weather.
Christine Fletcher, a doctor whose career is breaking new ground. Christine Fletcher,
A woman whose marriage is breaking her heart.
Was she the first?
nothing happened, Christine.
The intent was there, the want was there, so don't you dare say nothing happened!
Neve Cusack, Martin Shaw, always and everyone.
I don't like it when there's nothing I can do.
You could have been with me. New drama.
You're a doctor first and a wife second.
Monday at 9, ITV.
I'm sorry. I should have been there.
Next, Laura moves in on Chris and Sean's business, Emmerdale, in a couple of minutes.
Well, the room was packed. In the entire history of the Patterson family, no one had ever been on the telly. Well, that was about to change. I mean, there's the host with a big grin on his face. Ladies and gentlemen.
Please welcome the Pattersons.
Press record, Dad, screams Sonia. Well, the trouble is, I am pressing it. I'm pressing so hard that the end of my finger's gone white. I hope you're getting all this, says the wife. Don't worry, love, I smile back. Useless video. She's bringing some of her friends round tonight to watch the tape.